Chapter 1681. After leaving the safe zone enveloped by the mysterious gate, the entire environment immediately changed. A dense ancient aura surged over, desolate and ancient. There was also a weak but omnipresent fiendish chi. That fiendish chi looked ordinary. However, if one breathed it in for a long time, it would make one irritable, bloodthirsty, and murderous. Xiaochen did not know where that divine vein powerhouse found such a place, and made it his resting place. Everyone could find information about the fiendish demon battlefield. As for how much they knew, it would depend on their position in the sect. The jade strip that Lingyu obtained would definitely be more detailed than what Yangqing could find. For example, Yangqing only knew the rough location of this Buddha-seeking platform. However, Xiaochen knew the specifics. Xiaochen took out the jade strip and sent his spiritual sense into it. A blurry three-dimensional map appeared in his vision. Then he continuously compared the three-dimensional map, and finally matched the fiendish demon battlefield with the real world. Xiaochen muttered the words Buddha-seeking platform in his heart. A flickering red dot immediately appeared in the distance on the three-dimensional map, looking incredibly clear. This was a special map that the Purple Flame sect's senior brothers had drawn over a long period of time, and integrated into the jade strip. Only rank 4 sects could make such a jade strip, and only core disciples could obtain it. Of course, the map was not omnipotent. Most of the places were covered in black fog, places that had not been explored before. Come with me. After confirming the direction, Xiaochen led Yangqing forward at full speed. Along the way, the two occasionally ran into elite disciples of the other holy lands. After exchanging cautious glances, they carefully left. There were no rules in the fiendish demon battlefield. One had to be wary of fiendish demons, but so did the disciples of the other sections. Bang! Suddenly, the sounds of intense fighting came from a small hill not far in front. Xiaochen opened his heavenly eye and immediately saw clearly. It turned out that a few disciples had discovered a stalk of strange grass that could raise one's physique. Elite disciples of the various sects continuously joined in to fight the ferocious beasts guarding the natural treasures. Xiaochen casually glanced at it before ignoring it. He had the life juice source and did not care about this strange grass. As for Yangqing, she only glanced at it indifferently before ignoring it. They continued on their way. The two purposely increased their speed. However, everyone was restricted in this fiendish demon battlefield, unable to move at full speed. Half a day later, a towering skyscraper surrounded by countless Dao wheels appeared in the duo's sight. Myriad Weapon Pavilion. Yangqing exclaimed softly, and a hint of passion flashed in her eyes. No one would not be tempted when they saw the countless beautiful Dao wheels. By grasping a Dao tool, one would be able to sense the existence of the Dao in advance. It also had boundless benefits to one's comprehension of the Dao. Owning a Dao weapon was the dream of every disciple. Most importantly, a Dao tool that could catch the eye of a divine vein powerhouse would definitely be of superior grade or peak grade. Perhaps a Dao tool might grasp 2 or even 3 Daos, mutually nourishing each other. Rumor had it that 800 years ago, a disciple of the Divine Firmament Gate obtained a Dao tool that contained 2 Daos. To this day, they were treated as treasures, placed in the Divine Firmament sect's Divine Weapon Pavilion, and not easily shown to others. As for that disciple who obtained a Dao tool, he advanced to the Cloud Sea realm at a young age, possessing great fortuitous encounters. Over the past 10,000 years, there were many similar legends left behind, attracting the people who came later to the 10,000 Weapon Pavilion. Right now, at least 100 people had already passed by the two, rushing to the Myriad Weapon Pavilion. Let's go. Xiaochen urged indifferently. Confused, Yangqing asked, You don't have the desire to go to the Myriad Weapon Pavilion? Naturally, I do. However, not now. Once I go, I have to take out a Dao tool. Xiaochen's tone was relaxed as if he was speaking the truth. Yangqing smiled and said, Take out a Dao tool? That's too difficult. Not to mention the competition among many peak true inheritors. Even without competition, subduing a Dao tool would not be easy under the suppression of the Myriad Weapon Pavilion's Dao might. Xiaochen smiled and did not argue. For hours later, a mountain range appeared before the two. According to the map in the Jade Strip, the Buddha-seeking platform was at the summit. This was the only place in the fiendish demon battlefield that had anything to do with Buddhism. The Buddha-seeking platform produced all sorts of wondrous items with a connection to Buddhism. For example, the famous 5 trees and 6 flowers of Buddhism could be found here. Those were wondrous flowers and fruits that were hard to find in the outside world. They were incredibly precious. Be it monks who cultivated Buddhism or those who cultivated the martial Tao, they would receive great benefits after consuming them. However, it was not easy to go up. The flowers and trees in the mountain were boundlessly messy. Dangerous, ferocious beasts hid everywhere. The way to the summit was on the mountain path. Without any other choice, the two could only follow the mountain path to the summit. Several people walked on the mountain path. They all opened their eyes wide as they carefully looked into the depths of the forest. Xiao Chun had the heavenly eye. With a sweep of his gaze, he could easily see every blade of grass and tree in the depths of the forest. Suddenly, the Buddhist Sarira beads on Xiao Chun's wrist gave off a faint heat. Xiao Chun understood. This was the Buddhist Sarira beads forming a strange connection with some kind of wondrous Buddhist flowers and plants. Their Buddhist natures were connected, so there was a connection between them. Wait for me for a while. After saying that, Xiao Chun followed his senses and entered the forest. The connection intensified, and the Buddhist Sarira beads gave off a weak Buddhist light. Xiao Chun looked around and fixed his gaze on a white flower. 5 petals spread out gracefully. There were large patches of pale yellow on the petals. The alternating yellow and white gave off an exceptionally refreshing fragrance. White jasmine flower, one of the 6 flowers of the Buddhist sect's 5 trees and 6 flowers. Xiao Chun revealed joy on his face. This flower grew on trees and could be consumed orally. Of course, it could be used to brew tea or refine medicinal pills to bring out its effects to the fullest. The white jasmine flower tasted elegant and refreshing. After consuming it, it could directly increase one's cultivation. 1 petal was equivalent to 10 years of cultivation. Of course, the effects would decrease as time passed. However, even if it could not increase one's cultivation in the end, it could stabilize one's cultivation and condense veritable essence energy. To cultivators, this was simply wondrous. To Buddhist sect people, it was even more useful. Not only could it increase one's cultivation, but it could also allow one to understand Buddhist principles, increase one's affinity with Buddhism, and strengthen one's wisdom. Any one of the 5 trees and 6 flowers was innately connected to Buddhism, and could strengthen one's wisdom. Xiao Chun leaped up gently and stretched out his hand to pluck this white jasmine flower. However, he sensed that something was wrong. Xiao Chun casually looked around and saw many pairs of scarlet eyes staring at him from the darkness in the depths of the forest. Dodge. After plucking the flower petal, Xiao Chun immediately flashed, fleeing into the forest. Chi! Chi! Sharp cries came from the forest. 4 or 5 small, scarlet macaques bared their teeth as they gave chase. The macaques were astonishingly fast in the forest. Furthermore, they were more accustomed to the environment of the fiendish demon battlefield. Their speed was even faster than Xiao Chun's. Fearing that he would startle some other ferocious beasts, Xiao Chun did not make a move. He executed the new fish dragon art, and a layer of purple flames covered his entire body. Xiao Chun moved like a phantom, knocking down many trees as he charged out of the forest, and appeared on a small mountain path. The bloodthirsty macaques that had been chasing him immediately stopped their pursuit. They stood on a tree branch and roared at him endlessly. Xiao Chun had long discovered that this mountain path contained remnant Buddhist might. It was much safer than the forest. In the past, there were believers who bowed with every 3 steps and knelt with every 9, sincerely worshipping Buddha. Indeed, when Xiao Chun arrived on the path, those bloodthirsty macaques immediately stopped chasing. One bloodthirsty macaque was as strong as a late-stage minor primal core cultivator. If Xiao Chun got surrounded in the forest, he would be in some trouble. White jasmine flower. Seeing Xiao Chun appear, the fragrant white jasmine flower in his hand, which was filled with a Buddhist nature, immediately attracted the attention of many people on the mountain path. Damn. What a fellow. He actually managed to escape the bloodthirsty macaques without getting injured at all. He is really lucky. He just arrived, and he already found a white jasmine flower. When they noticed that Xiao Chun was unharmed, many of the people with ulterior motives immediately withdrew their thoughts. It was definitely not as simple as luck for Xiao Chun to emerge unscathed from the forest. Of course, the most important thing was that Xiao Chun wasted this treasure, munching on 3 petals of the white jasmine flower. It tastes pretty good. You should try it as well. Before the envious gazes of the crowd, Xiao Chun gave the remaining 2 petals to the somewhat stunned Yang Qing. Yang Qing ate it just like that. Although the Buddhist sect's 5 trees and 6 flowers could be consumed directly, this was a wondrous herb. Who would be so ungrateful as to consume it directly? Furthermore, it was so careless. Chapter 1682. Unlike those cultivators who risked their lives in the dense forest and searched everywhere, Xiao Chun only needed to rely on his senses to easily find his target. Fortunately, the strange smell would disappear with a gust of wind. Otherwise, it would be quite embarrassing. Compared to the other nervous expressions, it formed a sharp contrast. Only true experts could reap some benefits. Actually, this principle applied everywhere in the fiendish demon battlefield. There is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. After saying that, he shoved it into Yang Qing's mouth. All right. I'll go and meet him. I can't just watch as he destroys our opportunity. Right at this time, a miserable cry attracted Xiao Chun and Yang Qing's attention. Suddenly, something strange happened. A heaven-shaking roar came from the depths of the forest. Countless trees were uprooted. A grade 3 monastery's monk suggested. Xiao Chun continued walking forward. Soon, he felt the Buddhist prayer beads on his wrist heat up. He revealed a smile and quickly entered the dense forest. Buddhist cultivators were not all kind-hearted people. For many people, Buddhist cultivators and martial cultivators were only a method to become stronger. The white jasmine flower truly had boundless wondrous uses. The profound light temple was different. The largest temple of the Patala mountain did not fear the purple flame sect at all. I can cultivate Buddhist cultivation techniques and martial techniques to become stronger, but I don't have to abide by the precepts and respect the precepts. Xiao Chun smiled. Take it. This is just the beginning. Senior brother Yanfeng, you are a disciple of the profound light temple. You are no weaker than the purple flame sect. That kid's main strengths are his body movement technique and his strong body. Senior brother Zhending cultivates the greater teleportation body technique, and the Vajra indestructible body, which completely restrains him. If he went to the 10,000 flowers garden, the 10,000 weapon pavilion, or the 10,000 book pavilion, he would not be able to do so. This MT-seeking mountain has always been our exclusive property. It's him again. Where did he come from? Seeing that Xiao Chun's harvest was increasing, their dissatisfaction intensified. As they looked at Xiao Chun and Yang Qing's backs, rage flashed in their eyes. What made Xiao Chun even more happy was that his Buddha heart was also strengthened further. The Buddha light between his eyebrows was hidden and not emitted. If not for his long hair fluttering in the wind, one might even mistake him for a monk from a temple. The loss outweighed the gain. For the sake of a white jasmine flower, the strongest of the 3, senior brother Ma, ended up half dead, losing the chance to continue obtaining fortuitous encounters. Puchi. Whoosh. Xiao Chun was deep in thought. The environment of the jungle was complicated. It was too risky to search inside. After a while, Xiao Chun walked out again with a jasmine flower. After swallowing all 3 jasmine flower petals, the Taiji Yinyang True Essence diagram in Xiao Chun's Dantian expanded by 20%. It's a major primal core realm ferocious beast, a black iron demonic ape. Just like that, he walked along the main path towards the Buddha-seeking platform at the peak of the mountain. His harvest alone was more than enough to surpass everyone combined. 5 bald monks were gathered together. Then he snatched the white jasmine flower from the unconscious man's hand and stomped him to death. Once he succeeded in breaking through, he would be able to make up for it both internally and externally, and his strength would definitely increase by another level. A giant black ape that was 30 meters tall appeared with a roar. However, Xiao Chun did not care. He casually swallowed 3 flower petals and left the remaining 2 for Yang Qing. However, it was not easy to obtain it safely. With a moment of carelessness, he was bitten by the bloodthirsty macaque. His blood immediately flowed out of his body at an alarming rate. Even major primal core venerates could only try their luck outside and see if they could discover the strange plants in the forest on the main road. The eyes of the yellow-faced monk called Yanfeng flashed as he made up his mind. The effect of increasing his cultivation base was not very good. Xiaochen felt that his cultivation base had only increased by about 20%. Apart from that, Xiaochen also discovered another effect. After consuming the jasmine flower, his Buddha heart became even stronger. But to Xiaochen, this place was too interesting. His Sarira Buddhist beads were like a cheat. There were the 5 trees and 6 flowers of the Buddhist sects in the depths of the forest. There were many natural spirit herbs, and the jasmine flower was just one of them. Quick! Quick! Go and save senior brother Ma. These two were late-stage minor primal core cultivators. Facing this black iron demonic ape was somewhat taxing. They executed their martial techniques at the same time, and quickly struck the black iron demonic ape. This was far weaker than the legendary 10 years of cultivation increase. This had a lot to do with Xiaochen reaching a bottleneck in his cultivation. In senior brother Ma's hand, there was only a single jasmine flower. The two people who came to his rescue had dim expressions on their faces. The life juice source cleansed Xiaochen's physical body and strengthened his physique. The jasmine flower strengthened his cultivation and cleansed his veritable essence energy. The two complemented each other, one internal and one external, greatly benefiting Xiaochen. Aside from those who cultivated beneficence, monks who focused on cultivating grand aspirations and incense had very few restrictions in the first place. Firstly, it was a waste. Secondly, it could not be digested quickly. Where did this evil Buddhist monk come from? Xiaochen showed an angry expression. This was forcing him into a dead end. This strange flower melted the moment it entered his mouth, continuously cleansing his veritable essence energy. The moment Xiaochen said that, the other monks all nodded in agreement. Yang essence energy and the principles of yin and yang slowly circulated in his body, giving off a faint glow. His entire body was filled with energy. In the dense forest, a young man about 500 meters from the main road was captured by 50 bloodthirsty rhesus monkeys, entering a bitter battle. Yang Qing put away the jasmine flower. However, she did not dare to eat it like Xiaochen. Jasmine flower. However, there were still several bloodthirsty rhesus monkeys behind. Finally, the remaining 2 fled to the main road and watched as the black iron demonic ape went far away. Aside from the jasmine flower, Xiaochen harvested all sorts of strange Buddhist flowers and herbs. This was a rewarding journey. Of course, Xiaochen still focused on the jasmine flower. Xiaochen was different. He possessed a great desolate Ian bloodline, and his physique had reached the level of a great primal core venerate. Following that, the two seemed to be taking a leisurely stroll through the mountain road. However, every once in a while, Xiaochen would obtain a strange flower or herb, feeling relaxed and satisfied. Buddhist sect cultivation focused on merit, aspirations, and incense offerings. Actually, this was easy to understand. If monks were monks, they would truly be a group of ascetic monks who did not eat the food of the mortal world. In a world where the strong preyed on the weak, there was no way for them to survive. His companions guarding the main road immediately charged in to save him. The two moved very quickly. However, by the time they arrived, senior brother Ma had already fainted. His face was pale, and teeth wounds covered his entire body. When Yang Qing saw Xiaochen's changes, she muttered in her heart, not understanding what was going on. Ah! Roar! As a result, Xiaochen's body started to emit a strange and unpleasant smell. These were all impurities that flowed out of his veritable essence energy. As Xiaochen consumed more jasmine flowers, he felt the effects of his veritable essence energy becoming increasingly obvious. As his veritable essence energy was continuously cleansed, it became increasingly clear and crystalline. The impurities were slowly removed. More importantly, his injuries were not something that could be easily healed. What a fellow! A half-step primal core veritable personage actually monopolized 80% of the strange flowers and herbs in this Buddha-seeking mountain. Be careful! Just as Xiaochen obtained another white jasmine flower and prepared to leave the forest, a strong Buddhist might suddenly appeared on the main road. This Buddhist might merged with the strong wind, containing the rage of a guardian deity, wanting to force him back. No matter where one went, a rank 4 sect would have a strong deterrent effect. If the Buddha-seeking mountain came to settle the score, the monastery they were in would not be able to endure the pressure. Xiaoqun could only say that he had chosen the right place to go to the Buddha-seeking platform. Xiaoqun had only entered the fiendish demon battlefield for slightly more than a day. His current harvest could be said to be one of the best. The black iron demonic ape's scarlet eyes shone with a spiritual light. Its 2 palms smashed over like 2 mountains, sending the 2 flying. Xiaoqun easily obtained another white jasmine flower. This made the eyes of the other sect disciples searching hard on the main road green with envy. Being able to obtain this white jasmine flower before breaking through to the primal core realm was like heaven helping them. However, the effects of condensing veritable essence energy were very obvious. That Taiji veritable essence energy diagram became more tangible. Clearly, no ordinary person would be able to reap benefits from the forest. Yang Qing shook her head and said, I did not do much for this white jasmine flower. I don't want it. Xiaoqun had already traversed 2/3 of the mountain road. His harvest was bountiful. This trip was not in vain. However, the black iron demonic ape skin was as tough as steel. The 2's attacks could not break through its defense at all. Chapter 1683. Where did this evil monk of the Buddhist sect come from? To think that he was so sinister, sneak attacking Xiaoqun at his most crucial moment. Xiaoqun did not think too much. He faced the other party's Buddhist might and gathered 4 cauldron force before throwing a punch. With a deafening bang, the 2 fists collided, creating a boundless shockwave that rolled out in all directions. Xiaoqun clearly saw that monk's face. His complexion was yellowish and his skin was bronze. With one look, it was clear that this monk cultivated the Buddhist Vajradharma, giving him an incredibly strong physical body. Indeed, as expected, you are not an ordinary half-step primal core cultivator. The strength of your physical body is really startling. Yanfeng smiled coldly and shouted, however now scram back. Yanfeng shouted, and the energy in his fist light increased significantly. Surging vital qi surged out, pressing over like it could topple mountains and flip seas. You are seeking death. Enraged, Xiaoqun narrowed his eyes. Then he merged his veritable essence energy and vital qi and pushed hard. Amid a loud rumble, Xiaoqun pushed Yanfeng back like he was a mountain. After pushing Yanfeng away, the bloodthirsty macaques behind him charged over at this moment. Left without a choice, Xiaoqun could only expose his strength. He used his body as a saber and released the great Tao's might. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiaoqun threw 6 punches, his fist lights like sabers. The wind howled, looking like resplendent saber lights blossoming in the depths of the forest. After 6 punches, Xiaoqun knocked back the bloodthirsty macaques. However, such an intense battle attracted the attention of the many ferocious beasts in the depths of the forest. Roar! Roar! Terrifying roars came from the depths of the forest. Xiaoqun sensed several major primal core ferocious beasts rushing over. He did not dare to linger. With a few flashes, he arrived on the mountain path protected by the Buddhist might. On the other side, Yang Qing was surrounded by a group of bald monks. They did not use any killing moves on her, just holding her back, not letting her come over to support Xiaoqun. On the path, Yanfeng looked at Xiaoqun. Xiaoqun had just landed a heavy punch on him, but his body seemed fine. However, his body seemed to be completely fine. He was completely unharmed, and his expression was cold. Benefactor, going too far is as bad as not going far enough. You have to leave him a way out. If you monopolize all the resources of this Buddha-seeking mountain, what will happen to us, the people who entered the fiendish demon battlefield, who worked so hard to enter? Hearing the other party's reasoning, Xiaoqun smiled and said, according to you, what should I do? When Yanfeng saw that Xiaoqun seemed to have the intention to negotiate, his expression turned much warmer as he said, give us some of the white jasmine flowers and other rare Buddhist herbs you obtained. Let's work together on the Buddha-seeking platform. With the help of us Buddhists, we can give you more opportunities on the Buddha-seeking platform. You should also know that compared to the fortuitous encounters on the Buddha-seeking platform, the flowers and plants in this dense forest are completely not worth mentioning. Xiaochen did know that there was an ancient temple in the Buddha-seeking platform that was completely preserved. There were many Buddhist weapons, Buddhist treasures, and even perfectly refined Buddhist pills. In the depths of the monastery, there was a kind of wisdom tea. After drinking it, it could condense a cultivator's soul force. It could increase a major primal core cultivator's chances of breaking through to the Cloud Sea realm. In the past, there was a legend that a Black Cave Mountain disciple obtained the wisdom tea and broke through to the Cloud Sea realm in less than 10 years. However, the Buddha-seeking platform was now occupied by a group of fiendish demons. Fiendish demons were not like ferocious beasts. They were life forms that existed before the martial epoch was formed. They were born after the destruction of the immortal epoch. After the heavenly court collapsed, the immortal chi went out of control, and all sorts of objects manifested themselves. For example, stones, trees, flowers, and even ordinary livestock. There were all sorts of strange things here. After they manifested themselves, they turned into monsters. They were neither human nor ghost, neither immortal nor demon. They were known as fiendish demons. However, after the destruction of the immortal epoch, the immortal chi of the heavenly court became impure. Hence, most of the fiendish demons had violent tempers and were bloodthirsty. Before the birth of the martial epoch, fiendish demons had wreaked havoc in the world. Fiendish demons slaughtered the various races. This lasted until the sage ancestors of the Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucian sects appeared and fought with the fiendish demons. Only then did they gain the upper hand, killing the other party and ushering in the martial epoch. In this age, one could no longer run into fiendish demons in the ordinary world. Even if one ran into them in this special place, the bloodlines of the fiendish demons would be diluted, no longer having the might of their ancestors. However, ferocious beasts could not compare to them. Be it in intelligence or strength, ferocious beasts could not compare to fiendish demons. If Xiaochen wanted to enter and obtain fortuitous encounters, he would be of great help. With the help of the Buddhist sects, it was indeed a great help. The Buddhist sects' cultivation techniques and martial techniques were very effective against fiendish demons. However, based on Yanfeng's expression, it seemed like Xiaochen had something to ask of him, wanting to hand over the white jasmine flower and the other Buddhist sect herbs. Was that possible? Xiaochen said coldly. You are overthinking. If you are willing to work together, I can share some of the benefits from the Buddha-seeking platform with you. However, you can stop dreaming if you want the natural treasures that I obtained along the way. Yanfeng smiled and said, It's fine. I will soon show you who is the one living in a dream. Whoosh! Yanfeng's figure turned around, and a Buddhist light flowed. Then he suddenly appeared in front of Xiaochen. His skin gave off a metallic glow. This was the profound light temple's indestructible iron body, a cultivation technique for the physical body. Xiaochen's expression did not change. He gently stomped on the ground, and a boundless killing chi surged out together with his aura like a tsunami. Under the suppression of such a strong aura, Yanfeng's speed immediately slowed. A cold light flashed in Xiaochen's eyes as he attacked at lightning speed. A melodious saber hum resounded in the surroundings. Dang, dang, dang. Xiaochen sent out 3 hand saber strikes at the same spot, giving off metallic clangs. Yanfeng grunted as he got knocked back 100 meters. He had not expected Xiaochen to be so strong. Look. The profound light temple's true inheritors are fighting with the purple flame sect's people. It's him, that white-clad person. He gained a lot on this Buddha-seeking mountain. He is very strong. I just guessed that someone would be jealous. Indeed, the profound light temple's people could not resist making a move. Furthermore, it is an early-stage major primal core true inheritor. This is going to be a good show. Xiaochen was a celebrity in MT Ask Mountain. His every move would attract a lot of attention. Previously, every time he came out of the forest, he would always have a harvest, and it had already caused a commotion. However, due to the Purple Flame sect's reputation and Xiaochen's strength, they did not have the courage to do so. Now that they saw Xiaochen fighting with the Profound Light Temple true inheritor, they were not surprised. This Buddha-seeking mountain had always been the exclusive property of that group of monks. I wonder who will win. What else is there to say? It must be that bald monk. After all, he is a true inheritor of the profound light temple. For him to have such a high cultivation base, he must have cultivated his way up. You should know that it is the hardest for a Buddhist to improve their cultivation base. Right. This white-clad bladesman is merely a half-step primal core cultivator. Although his physical body is astonishingly strong and his movement technique is terrifying, he is not a primal core cultivator. However, this profound light temple monk not only has a higher cultivation, but his physical body and movement technique are also no weaker than the white-robed bladesman's. It's hard to say. The white-robed bladesman has not drawn his saber yet. Indeed, only now did the crowd notice Xiao Chun, who was fighting an intense battle with Yan Feng. Even now, Xiao Chun still had not drawn his saber. No one could think of a reason. Why? After Yan Feng was knocked back by Xiao Chun again, he patted his clothes and smiled. Interesting. However, I have already cultivated my indestructible iron body to the 5th layer. With your cultivation, you can forget about injuring me. As long as I land one punch, you will be finished. Xiao Chun frowned slightly. The other party's physical body combined with the indestructible iron body was indeed difficult to deal with. Indeed, none of the true inheritors of a rank 4 sect were easy to deal with. If Xiao Chun's cultivation was higher, he would not have to put in so much effort. However, it would only take a little more effort. The other party was not Shangguan Lei, so he would not find it difficult to deal with. Right after Yan Feng spoke, Xiao Chun shot over. He stretched out his hand, and 7 beams of light shot out from his clothes. These were the 7 deadly sins that he had not used for a long time. The 7 sabers each gave off a different state. Under Xiao Chun's control they merged into one. Then, he stretched out his hand and grasped them tightly. Dao Might appeared. With the saber in hand, Xiao Chun's aura suddenly changed, becoming boundlessly tyrannical, swallowing mountains and rivers. The great Dao Might immediately put Yan Feng in an extremely difficult position. What saber is this? Yan Feng was somewhat startled. When he saw Xiao Chun's aura change, it felt like he was holding a Dao tool. Xiao Chun smiled faintly. First, there was a saber god. Then there is a divine saber. The saber is not important. What is important is the person holding the saber. Don't think that I can't do anything to your body of metal. Chapter 1684. With the saber in hand, Xiao Chun's attacks immediately turned sharp. Holding up his saber, Xiao Chun did not dodge. He directly chopped at the opening at the left rib of the profound light temple's Yan Feng. There was nothing special about this move. It was just fast, so fast that everyone seemed to see a modeled afterimage. It was as fast as lightning. First came the electric light, then came the thunder. This reminded everyone of what Xiao Chun said earlier. First came the saber god, then came the divine saber. The important thing was not the divine saber, but the person who grasped the saber. Xiao Chun compared himself to the saber god. Originally, everyone looked down on him. Now they no longer dared to underestimate him. It was just an ordinary move, but it was an eye-opener for everyone, causing them to cry out in surprise. Facing Xiao Chun's careless saber strike, Yan Feng hesitated. He had purposely revealed the opening. Yan Feng had many openings. However, he did not care about them earlier. The indestructible iron body made Yan Feng's physical body incredibly strong, suppressing Xiao Chun's physical body. Yan Feng did not feel any pressure when clashing head-on with Xiao Chun's fist light and palm saber. As Yan Feng said, he could not injure him at all. However, Yan Feng no longer felt confident when facing this saber strike. Open! Yan Feng shouted. Suddenly, a scripture shining with resplendent golden light flowed on the surface of his skin. His Buddhist might increased greatly, and his indestructible iron body improved further. It was like he truly had the golden Arhat protecting his body. Xiao Chun smiled coldly. Everything was within his expectations. Suddenly, he raised his saber and chopped down at the speed of lightning. Then he suddenly stopped. The saber move changed, like a sudden turn of a mountain peak. However, it flowed smoothly, looking wondrous. As Yan Feng raised his saber, it turned into an unending chain of huge waves. The The saber light spread out, looking like the huge waves of a long river, one wave after another. By perfectly merging the ferocious mysteries and the chain of attacks, the might of this saber strike appeared boundlessly tyrannical. Even an outsider bladesman could tell that this was extraordinary, indescribably wondrous. Good. Many people cheered in unison. There was practically no one here who could send out such a saber strike. Yanfeng's face immediately sank. He, who was immersed in Xiao Chen's saber technique, felt it even more deeply. All of a sudden, it was as if the wasteland had been struck by lightning. Suddenly, it was as if they were in the middle of the ocean, facing the monstrous waves that were thousands of miles long. He was like a lonely boat in the night, looking around without anyone to rely on. Retreat. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, Yanfeng decisively chose to retreat. He also could not let Xiao Chen's saber strike his weak point. The consequences would be hard to predict. He only took one step back, and in that one step, he formed a seal with both hands. Between his fingers, a sacred flower bloomed, and seven-colored light filled the air, bringing with it a gentle Buddhist light. As long as the angle deviated, it would not be able to dodge Xiao Chen's saber strike. As long as Yanfeng did not strike at his weak point, he was confident that he could block Xiao Chen's attack and instantly counterattack. Change. Xiao Chen laughed loudly, and his saber technique changed again. He materialized the boundless surging wave to its limits. Then he pulled it back, not even a splash of water spilling out. This was another perfect move. The spectators even forgot to praise him. It was indescribably wondrous. Breaking 1,000 armies. Suddenly, a heavy crashing sound rang out in the air. The crashing sound made everyone's heart beat faster, wanting to leap out of their chests. Yanfeng felt like he was in a bloody battlefield amid thousands of soldiers as Xiao Chen swung his saber. He wanted to use this saber strike to chop apart thousands of soldiers and sweep away the boundless dust. Breaking the stars. Then, when the saber light was about to chop down, Xiao Chen gently pulled back the saber tip. The aura of breaking 1,000 armies was completely absorbed into the saber tip. Starlight filled the sky, and the saber tip became boundlessly resplendent. It gave off a light even more dazzling than the stars, flickering among the stars in the universe. It seemed like this move of the saber could sweep away the clouds for 5,000 kilometers around, and destroy the stars in the universe. This startled Yanfeng. Suddenly he could not keep up with Xiao Chen's change in moves. In other words, Xiao Chen used his startling talent in the saber Dao to forcefully take the lead by one move. Breaking the world. Breaking 1,000 armies, breaking the stars, breaking the world. After stacking 2 moves, Xiao Chen changed his move to breaking the world, and chopped down while Yanfeng's expression changed to one of shock. When the saber descended, it was like a lone knight galloping alone, carrying a momentum that could sweep through the world. Xiao Chen pointed at Yanfeng's initial opening. I admit defeat. While he was surprised and bewildered, Yanfeng suddenly gave up resisting and shouted loudly. Buzz. The saber that swept through the world suddenly stopped when it was about 2 centimeters away from Yanfeng's opening. The saber trembled continuously, buzzing endlessly. The saber intent that Xiao Chen emitted spread out in the surroundings. Yanfeng's heart pounded heavily. He wanted to say something. Pa. Xiao Chen raised his saber horizontally and slapped Yanfeng's face, sending him flying. After he landed on the ground, he bounced off into the distance. On the mountain path of Mount Inquiring, countless people were watching the scene in the open and in the dark. Who could have imagined that a profound light temple true inheritor would end up in such a state when facing Xiao Chen? Everyone could see the situation of the match very clearly. When Yanfeng admitted defeat, anyone with a discerning eye could see the reason behind it. Only by admitting defeat could Yanfeng survive. After Xiao Chen attacked with his saber, his inconspicuous flaw became a fatal flaw after Xiao Chen changed his moves continuously. This was a fatal opening that Xiao Chen had forcefully created with his exquisite saber techniques. If Xiao Chen struck Yanfeng, he would definitely be crippled. Although everyone could tell that Yanfeng had left behind so many openings because of his carelessness, it was not easy to tell. However, everyone knew that even if he hadn't been careless, it was only a matter of time before he was defeated by Xiao Chen. There was no other reason other than the fact that the saber art was simply unbelievable and superb. Damn, he can't be that person, right? Who? It's that mysterious expert that spread through the various sects, the top core disciple of the Black Cave Mountain's Divine Firmament sect. I heard that this bladesman defeated him in one move right in front of Shangguanlei. That is really possible. He happens to be from the Purple Flame sect, and his saber techniques happen to be startling. Furthermore, we are not familiar with him. There are too many coincidences. This is the truth. Immediately, startled cries rang out. The person who dared to anger Shangguanlei into trembling, but did not dare to make a move was the idol of many people. Who would have thought that they would meet here? It's you. As Yan Feng lay on the ground, he revealed an expression of relief when he heard everyone's discussion. Yan Feng had heard of the Black Cave Mountain's mysterious bladesman as well. However, he had not taken it seriously. Yan Feng was very clear on what kind of person Shangguanlei was. He did not believe that a nameless nobody would force Shangguanlei into not daring to make a move. There had to be more to the story. However, after exchanging moves with Xiao Chun, Yan Feng started to believe it. The white-robed bladesman before him might not be without trump cards that even Shangguanlei feared. I am not being merciful with this saber strike. The venerable Xianbei once saved my life, so I will not kill someone from the Profound Light Temple. However, if you keep mocking me, don't blame me for being merciless. Xiao Chun snorted coldly as he looked at Yan Feng, not saying anything more. He had always been decisive when it came to killing. This Yan Feng had already crossed his bottom line. If it were someone else, even if that person begged for mercy, Xiao Chun would still chop down his saber. However, since the other party was from the Profound Light Temple and chose to admit defeat, Xiao Chun could spare his life. However, there was only one chance. If there was a second time, Xiao Chun would not be polite. After a while, Yangqing looked at Xiao Chun with a strange expression. No matter what, she could not have imagined it. Xiao Chun would be the person who charged into the Divine Firmament sect, and was viewed as a legend by the many inner-sect disciples of the Purple Flame sect. Yangqing's first impression was that she had always thought that Xiao Chun had become the servant of a true inheritor. Furthermore, because she was too familiar with Xiao Chun, she had never thought that Xiao Chun was the mysterious bladesman who fought with Shangguanlei. Yangqing looked at Xiao Chun and said seriously, "Young Master Xiao, you really hid yourself deeply." Xiao Chun smiled helplessly. "I have never hidden anything from you. I already said from the start that I came to find my senior brother. It is just that you did not believe me. However, my senior brother is indeed Senior Yi Zifeng. He is fully capable of obtaining a spot for me." Right after Yangqing spoke, Xiao Chun paused for a moment before continuing. "You, on the other hand, have been hiding very deeply. Even now, I cannot see through you." Yangqing appeared slightly startled, somewhat surprised. Xiao Chun smiled and said, "Back on the ship, I already paid attention to you. At that time, I thought that I already saw through you. Only now do I realize that I cannot see through you completely, never before. However, what does that matter? I only need to remember that you once shielded me without any hesitation. That is enough." Chapter 1685. When Xiao Chun came out, he would definitely have a stalk of the Buddhist sect's strange plant. Xiao Chun suspected that he had run into a mutated black iron demonic ape. I can't care anymore. If it is not mature, so be it. It is better than someone else taking it away. The white-clad monk was none other than the Black Lotus Church's holy son Ming Xian. Right now, he had another identity. Yanxi, a newly advanced disciple of the Profound Light Temple. He was like a pool of lightning, shocking the various ferocious beasts in the forest. Peak Major Primal Core. Young Master Xiao, how did you escape unharmed? People like Shangguanlei, Zhen Yuan, and Wang Yueming definitely would not come. They would definitely go to a land of greater fortuitous encounters. After a loud sound, frost covered that black iron demonic ape's entire body. Yangqing's peak palm strike knocked it back into the forest. The two smiled at each other and continued heading for the summit. Yan Feng's strength could not be considered at the peak among the true inheritors of the three blessed lands, but there was no need to underestimate him. Even if he could not rank in the top 10, he could still make it into the top 30. This seemingly simple action actually exhausted a lot of mental and physical strength. Fortunately, he did not disappear completely. I can still sense his general direction. After Xiao Chun and Yang Qing went far away, the group of monks from the Patala mountain gathered together again. With one final leap, a faint purple flame covered Xiao Chen's entire body as he dodged that black iron demonic ape strike. Then, he landed firmly and heaved a sigh of relief. Based on this trend, it really might be possible. Even senior brother Yen was defeated by him. Who else could stop him? When Xiao Chen looked over, he saw a black wall appear. When he looked up, he discovered that it was a 30-meter-tall black iron demonic ape. Right after the figure vanished, this black iron demonic ape smashed the tree that Xiao Chen had just stood on into powder with one palm strike. Bang! When Xiao Chen turned his head back, he saw a horrifying scene. The black iron demonic ape had actually followed him silently, right above him. "Young Master Xiao, are you all right?" Yang Qing's complexion paled somewhat, and her voice sounded somewhat weak. Clearly, the rebound from her earlier palm strike made her feel somewhat uncomfortable. Just as Xiao Chen was about to make his move, a few voices suddenly rang out in unison. Waves of righteous qi spread out in all directions and soared into the sky. Xiao Chen, who was fully focused on fleeing, felt a little tired after a short while. Damn it! How did this black iron demonic ape manage to hide its aura so well with such agility? The black lotus mark on Xiao Chen's body was now immeasurably weak, because he had taken the snow lotus. Strange, the black lotus mark left by Master has become so weak. However, this Yanfeng seemed to have forgotten Xiao Chen's final warning. If there was a next time, he would not be lenient. There's no rush. My senior brother Zhenxian will come later. We already made an agreement. At that time, my senior brother will definitely be able to take down this white-robed bladesman. This was something that could only be done after one's control over one's strength had reached the pinnacle. Xiao Chen's heart sank. He knew that he had guessed correctly. This was a mutated black iron demonic ape. The black iron demonic ape was crystalline and flawless. The holy son Mingxian, who originally thought that after entering the fiendish demon battlefield, he could easily find Xiao Chun by sensing the black lotus mark. The holy son Mingxian entered a berserk state, and the ice on his body fell off. Unyielding might. To the people of the Buddhist sect, no one could endure Xiao Chun monopolizing so many strange flowers and herbs. How terrifying. Young Master Xiao, be careful. Every time Xiao Chun dodged, he would be in danger. This mutated black iron demonic ape was ridiculously strong. Even if there were no other reasons, Xiao Chun would not be willing to fight with such a ferocious beast. It would not end well. He just knew that this earth and fire golden lotus would not be that easy to obtain. Xiao Chun took out a brocade box and carefully moved his body. Just as he put away the earth and fire golden lotus, he sensed a dangerous aura. The most important thing was that it was extremely rare. It could not grow on a large scale like the white jasmine flower. The earth and fire golden lotus had very high environmental requirements. It could only grow in special places. It's fine. I trust you. Whoosh. However, the expression of Yang Qing, who was at the side, changed drastically. Her fine black hair suddenly turned white, and the surrounding temperature plummeted. White snow drifted in the air. However, it did not seem like it had truly matured yet. Xiao Chun did not dare to face it head-on in the depths of this forest. Who knew what other monstrous ferocious beasts would come? Xiao Chun nodded. That was truly dangerous earlier. That black iron demonic ape's movement technique was simply too agile. As it leaped, it did not make a sound. This was simply incredible. The mountain path was an absolutely safe zone. Along the way, no ferocious beasts dared to come here. Inside Buddha-seeking mountain, the black lotus mark was weak, appearing and disappearing at times. This made it very difficult for Xiao Chun to determine Xiao Chen's position. Fortunately, the mountain path was already not far away. Xiao Chen's strength was definitely not just at the early stage major primal core realm. It might even be at the peak major primal core realm. Earth and fire golden lotus. Xiao Chun revealed an expression of joy. The earth and fire golden lotus was one of the 6 flowers of the 5 trees and 6 flowers, one grade higher than the white jasmine flower. When cultivating in the Buddhist sect, one's Buddha heart was extremely important. It was helpful in comprehending the various ancient Buddhist scriptures and strengthening one's wisdom. Many Buddhist sect martial techniques even had a direct requirement on one's Buddha heart. If one's Buddha heart was not strong, the might of the Buddhist sect martial techniques would be weakened. Relying on the new fish dragon art movement technique, Xiaochen dashed wildly, dodging the various attacks of this black iron demonic ape. On the mountain path, Xiaochen and Yangqing continued walking leisurely. Occasionally, the Buddhist Sarira beads would sense something, and Xiaochen would enter the forest. The strange flowers and herbs of this Buddha-seeking mountain all had the effect of strengthening one's Buddha heart. When they reached a certain level, they would undergo a qualitative change. Yanfeng sincerely felt that he was inferior to Xiaochen. However, it was impossible for him to give up on the strange flowers and herbs of this Buddha-seeking mountain, especially the white jasmine flower, one of the 5 trees and 6 flowers. Xiaochen gently pushed off with his feet and leaped up, vanishing from a tree branch. The golden lotus petals had not even opened yet. It was like a shy girl covering her face with her hands. At some point in time, it had silently landed in front of Yanfeng. This mutated black iron demonic ape actually ignored the taboo and crossed the mountain path. For Xiaochen to defeat Yanfeng, it was sufficient for him to dominate this Buddha-seeking mountain. After all, he was a true peak true inheritor. He would go to the 10,000 flower garden, the 10,000 weapon pavilion, and the 10,000 book pavilion. Suddenly, the black iron demonic ape's aura soared, instantly reaching a horrifying level. This startled Xiaochen and Yangqing at the same time. Just as Xiaochen was about to say something, an intense roar suddenly rang out. The 30-meter-long demonic ape in the forest stood up again. At this moment, on a slope some distance away from the Buddha-seeking mountain, a white-clad monk frowned heavily, revealing a confused expression. "Senior Brother Yan, what should we do? Are we just going to watch him collect all the strange flowers and herbs of this Buddha-seeking mountain?" This time, Yangqing was truly shocked. As she looked at Xiaochen's sincere gaze, she remained silent for a while before saying, "Thank you. However, there is definitely no conflict of interest between us. After I obtain something from the back mountain of the Buddha-seeking platform, I will leave." Xiaochen's face sank, and his body shifted back a few steps. Then he soared into the air and landed on a tree branch. Bang! This time, the Buddhist Sarira pearls sensed something again. Xiaochen followed the feeling and discovered a golden lotus flower that looked like it was burning with flames. The holy sun Mingxian looked in the direction of the Buddha-seeking mountain, and a light flashed in his eyes. In the next moment his figure vanished. Every time Xiaochen leaped up, he had to make precise calculations and use his full power before he could dodge that black iron demonic ape's attack. It was soundless and didn't make any sound. Yangqing's palm strike in the air looked like a beam of flowing light amid the snowflakes filling the air. In the time it took for a spark to fly, the snowflakes in the air released motes of light. Chapter 1686. The Holy Words of the Confucian Tao, Unyielding Might. With a few shouts, 4 figures landed before Xiaochen and Yangqing with a vast and boundless aura that was as heavy as a mountain. The leader was dressed like a scholar. He had a fair face and no facial hair, exuding a scholarly air. At this moment, the 4 arrived with their swords in hand. Their scholarly air turned into a righteous air. Their expressions were resolute, and their eyes shone with an unparalleled sharpness. Their auras soared infinitely. In the blink of an eye, they reached the aura of a peak major primal core cultivator. Xiaochen entered deep thought. This unyielding might was somewhat similar to his deity's descending. Similarly, it raised one's aura and strength for a short time. However, this unyielding might merged with the righteous air of the Confucian Tao. It was much better than deities descending alone. The 4 each sent out a sword strike. Sword chi surged out, shaking mountains and rivers as they struck the black iron demonic ape. Boom! Space trembled, and that black iron demonic ape's unparalleled aura was forcefully suppressed. Under these 4 sword strikes it was knocked back. Apart from the leader of the group, the other 3 paled and gasped for breath as they slashed out with unstoppable might. However, the pale-faced scholar sent out several sword flowers in the air. His sword moved like it was a go. And his sword moved like it was a go stone. Metallic clangs rang out crisply and crisply. Great sword technique. Xiaochen could not help praising softly as he watched, entranced. The other party's sword technique was truly exquisite. His sword moved like it was a go stone, and he used it like a god. He used all sorts of sword moves as he pleased, not sticking to a single pattern. It looked like a random combination, but in reality, every move contained deep meaning. Every time he sent out a sword move, it was a setup. When the 10 moves were over and the setup was set, that pale-faced scholar sheathed his sword and slowly landed. As Xiaochen slowly descended, a trembling sound came from the air. Some of the previously unremarkable sword techniques suddenly exploded out. These sword moves gathered into a resplendent sword light, and left a basin-sized wound on the black iron demonic ape's chest. Blood spurted out like a fountain. The demonic black iron ape's ferocity didn't diminish despite its severe injuries. However, it stopped for a moment and roared a few times before choosing to flee back into the forest. After confirming that the black iron demonic ape had truly gone far away, the pale-faced scholar led his 3 companions over to Xiaochen and Yangqing. Xiaochen remained calm and collected, waiting to see what this group of people wanted to do. Although the demonic black iron ape was powerful enough to appear in the saber Dao, Xiaochen did not need the help of others. Initially, it was only because they had not expected the black iron demonic ape to appear. Furthermore, the black iron demonic ape's ability to conceal its aura was superb, so they did not notice it. However, since Yangqing made a move and helped him gain some time to catch his breath, escaping would not be a problem. Even without the help of the 4, Xiaochen could still solve the problem in front of him, so he didn't feel particularly grateful. Most importantly, Xiaochen felt that the 4 of them were not simply helping him. It felt like they were deliberately showing off their strength. Many thanks to the 4 of you for helping me. I did not ask for your guidance, Xiaochen said as he stepped forward and performed a cupped fist salute. Young Master Xiao is too polite. Even if we did not make a move, young Master Xiao would have dealt with it. I am Wuxia, and these 3 are my junior brothers. We are all from the Confucian institution. The pale-faced scholar was rather honest, and did not put on airs of taking credit for himself. The Confucian institution? What is your relationship with Wang Yueming? Xiaochen asked softly, feeling excited. At the mention of Wang Yueming, pride flashed in the eyes of the other Confucian institution disciples. They said, "That is my senior brother. We are all disciples of the same teacher." However, senior brother Wang went to a forbidden land. A forbidden land? Yangqing exclaimed. However, she soon felt relieved. That's right. As one of the 3 great geniuses, Wang Yueming is indeed qualified to enter a forbidden land. Wuxia smiled and looked at Xiaochen. Then he said seriously, "Let's not talk about this for now. Young Master Xiao, what do you think of our strength?" After thinking for a while, Xiaochen answered honestly, "Very strong. If we worked together, I would not be able to deal with them easily. This is especially so for young Master Wang. Your sword skills are a great eye-opener. Your sword moves are like Go, and your moves are casual and relaxed, not sticking to one pattern. However, when you reap the harvest, you are swift and decisive. You kill decisively and efficiently." Clearly, Wuxia was very happy to receive such an evaluation from Xiaochen. He smiled humbly and said, "It is not worth mentioning. Compared to young Master Zhao's saber skills, I am still much weaker." Young Master Xiao, why is this person so long-winded and wishy-washy? Even now, I still do not know what he wants to do. Yangqing's voice rang out in Xiaochen's mind. He smiled and replied, "There is no rush. The people of the Confucian sect are just like that." After chatting idly for a while, Wuxia said, "We all saw young Master Zhao's battle with that profound light temple monk. Actually, if we want to go to the Buddha-seeking platform, there is no need to ally with that group of monks. The righteous chi of our Confucian sect also has a strong suppressive effect on fiendish demons. That black iron demonic ape earlier was a fiendish spirit ape. However, when it faced our Confucian sect's sword techniques, it was still forced to flee." Xiaochen now understood. The righteous Qi and the Buddhist sex Buddhist might were indeed similar on a certain level. At the same time, Xiaochen understood the intentions of the other four. They wanted to work with him to go to the Buddha-seeking platform. Brother Wangsu, do you want to work together and go to the Buddha-seeking platform together? Wangsu nodded and said, the Buddha-seeking platform is not simple. The fiendish demons in the temples are all intelligent, no different from us. Furthermore, they are already used to the pressure of the fiendish demon battlefield. With the same cultivation realm, the strength they can bring out is stronger than ours. After coming to the fiendish demon battlefield, everyone, including Xiaochen, had their strength suppressed. It was just a matter of how much. Young Master Xiao saw our strength earlier. What do you think? Do you want to go to the Buddha-seeking platform together? Wangsu revealed a confident expression, feeling very confident in his invitation. Xiaochen exchanged glances with Yangqing. Then he said, I'll discuss this with my companion first. The two walked to the side and communicated via voice projection. Xiaochen said, Miss Yang, I do not care what you think. I am already very satisfied with the natural treasures in the forest. Right now, we just need to go to the Buddha-seeking platform and take a look at those ancient Buddha statues. That will be enough. Xiaochen's goal was very firm. It was to improve his Buddha nature and strengthen the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. Everything else was just a bonus. Yangqing entered deep thought. I don't mind either. However, young Master Xiao, don't be fooled by the benevolent appearance of that Confucian institution disciple. Xiaochen looked at the other party in shock. This Yangqing seemed to have a grudge against the people of the Confucian institution. She had not shown such an expression when facing that group of bald donkeys earlier. After the discussion, Xiaochen felt confident and slowly walked over. How was it? What's the result of the discussion? Wangsu asked. Sure. However, if there are any gains along the way, the two of us want 60%. You can only get 40%. In that case, wouldn't the four of us each get only 10%? A Confucian institution disciple immediately expressed his dissatisfaction. Wangsu's lips twitched slightly. He smiled embarrassedly and said, Young Master Xiao, we are very sincere. In any case, it did not matter. Actually, Xiaochen could have been more ruthless. 60% or 40% was already a more sincere proposal. That's all then. Goodbye. Since the other party felt that Xiaochen was not sincere, there was no point in continuing the conversation. So Xiaochen waved his hand and took his leave with Yangqing. Damn it. Big brother Wangsu, this so-called white-robed bladesman is really shameless. We helped him out of goodwill, and he actually demanded such a high price. How infuriating. He is simply looking down on the people of our Confucian institution. Elder brother Wangsu, there is no need to be polite with him. We can just snatch whatever he has on him. Seeing Xiaochen go far away, the people of the Confucian institution all expressed their dissatisfaction. Wangsu showed an uncertain expression, rage flashing in his eyes. Aside from Xiaochen's strength, Wangsu sought to work with Xiaochen because of the mysterious item that Xiaochen had on him. Wangsu guessed that Xiaochen definitely had some treasure with a deep connection to Buddhism. Otherwise, he could not have gained so much in this Buddha-seeking mountain. However, Wangsu was not confident of making a move on Xiaochen. Based on the girl beside Xiaochen, she did not seem to be an ordinary person. Just as Wangsu was at a loss for what to do, a group of people rushed over from below. When he looked up, he saw Yan Feng, whom Xiaochen defeated earlier, leading a profound light temple disciple towards the summit. The Imperial Light Temple's Zhenxian. Wangsu immediately revealed a smile on his face. He said indifferently, There will come a time when you beg me. Chapter 1687. There seems to be no path in front. After taking their leave of Wangsu's group of four, Xiaochen and Yangqing continued along the mountain path. Finally, they arrived at the end of the mountain path. There was no path in front, only a tall and precipitous cliff. The Buddha-seeking mountain's peak was on the cliff, the Buddha-seeking platform. The only way to get to the Buddha-seeking platform was to fly up in one go. However, the spiritual energy in this fiendish demon battlefield was boundlessly vast, mixed with the ubiquitous fiendish qi. The space here was much larger than that of a blessed land. Aside from this, there was also a fiendish qi mixed with Buddhist might, looking exceptionally strange. Jumping up here was extremely difficult. Many sect disciples gathered here. As they looked at the 3-kilometer-tall cliff, they all frowned and shook their heads. For now no one was willing to try. When Xiao Chun and Yang Qing arrived, they did not act rashly. Instead, they calmly observed their surroundings. It should not be a problem for me to jump up. The difficult part is what I will face after I jump up. After carefully looking around, Xiao Chun had a rough idea. However, he did not know what the Buddha-seeking platform looked like or what fiendish demons were inside. Clearly, Yang Qing came prepared. She said, "There is a huge temple on the Buddha-seeking platform. After jumping up, you will see the temple gates. The temple has the most fiendish demons of varying strength. The strongest is a tree spirit. I heard that it is a distant sea realm cultivator. Of course, that is news from 20 years ago. I do not know if it is still accurate. A tree spirit was not easy to deal with. A tree spirit that became a tree spirit would have a lifespan of at least 1,000 years. Furthermore, it occupied this Buddha-seeking platform and gained a Buddhist heart, gaining intelligence. It would be even harder to deal with. Doesn't that mean that there is no way to go up? With a cloud sea fiendish demon guarding the Buddha-seeking platform, one would die if they went up. How could they possibly go up?" Yang Qing smiled and said, "How can that be? No matter what, this fiendish demon battlefield is a place where the divine vein powerhouses pass down their skills in the end. The fiendish demons will not truly take the initiative. Even if they die, the will they leave behind will formlessly restrict the fiendish demon battlefield. Think about it. If there were no restrictions, how could the Cloud Sea experts of the outside world not enter?" Xiao Chun understood something. "You mean to say that the tree spirit might not make a move personally, but it would be hard to avoid some sort of test. Passing the test left behind by the divine vein powerhouse is the key to obtaining the fortuitous encounter." Yang Qing nodded. "That's right. Who is Xiao Chun? Come out." Just as the two of them were discussing, a loud shout suddenly came from the foot of the mountain. It contained Buddhist mantras. The simple sentence caused everyone's eardrums to tremble and their souls to tremble. Many of them even bled from their nostrils and ears. The Buddhist sect's guardian deity Lion Roar. "It's the profound light temple's people." Yang Qing's expression changed slightly as she looked down. She saw Yan Feng, whom Xiao Chun had defeated earlier, leading a square-faced monk in yellow monk robes. They quickly leaped up and ran over. Zhenxian. When they saw the square-faced monk, many people immediately revealed shocked expressions. Zhenxian was a true inheritor of the Profound Light Temple, one of the top 10 true inheritors of the entire Profound Light Temple. His strength was exceptionally terrifying. It was common knowledge that because Buddhist disciples had a solid foundation, their cultivation grew the slowest. Most of them were not famous in the early stages, but once they reached the later stages, their strength would be stronger than their peers. This was the case for the strongest person of the 3 blessed lands, Zhen Yuan, who suppressed Shangguan Lei and Wang Yueming. Although this Zhenxian could not compare to Zhen Yuan, he was still one of the top 10 true inheritors of the entire Profound Light Temple. Even among the 3 blessed lands, he could be considered a peak existence among the true inheritors. The crowd was shocked because they had not expected someone of Zhenxian's status to come to Buddha-seeking mountain, a land of fortuitous encounters that was not considered popular. After a while, everyone understood and focused their gazes on Xiao Chun. They all revealed expressions of understanding. It turned out that Zhenxian was here to take revenge for their junior brother. Earlier, Yan Feng had been in a sorry state when he lost to Xiao Chun. "You sure came fast," Xiao Chun thought to himself. Then he stepped forward and said calmly, "I am Xiao Chun. What can I do for you?" "I am looking for you." Obediently hand over the Buddhist prayer beads and the Buddhist sect wondrous items in your hands. Zhenxian charged over with a ferocious momentum, not caring about Xiao Chun at all. Right after he spoke, he charged at Xiao Chun. Zhenxian clenched his hands into claws and spread his arms, looking like a divine eagle soaring into the sky. His entire body shone with golden light, giving off heavy Buddhist might. As Zhen Xian flew towards Xiaochen, the cry of a divine eagle rang out in the air. He frowned heavily and sent a claw down. Immediately, a gigantic eagle claw formed by veritable essence energy appeared, clawing at Xiaochen. A boundless suction came from the claw, kicking up sand and pebbles on the ground as a strong wind howled. Whoosh! Whoosh! When the surrounding crowd felt this suction, they exclaimed and quickly scattered, afraid of getting caught up in the crossfire. How arrogant! Xiaochen's face sank as he shouted coldly. The 7 deadly sins merged into one, and great Tao energy spread out. Instantly he stood firmly on the ground, unmoving like a mountain. Just as the gigantic eagle claw was about to strike, the saber strike containing great Tao energy turned into the dragon's subduing slash, and sent out a berserk chop. Boom! Space trembled. The short exchange between the two created a terrifying shockwave that surged out. Xiaochen leaped up, looking like a treasure saber being unsheathed. He executed the army-breaking saber technique, forcefully clashing head-on with Zhen Xian. The army-breaking saber technique focused on the word break. It required an indomitable courage. Even if one faced a vast army, one dared to wield their saber and charge forward, killing them all. Zhen Xian's divine eagle claw was extraordinary as well. His body was like a divine eagle. As he moved, he kicked up a boundless strong wind. Zhen Xian's 5 fingers were as hard as divine metal. As he moved, he gave off a startling Buddhist might. Dang! Dang! After 10 moves, the two were evenly matched. Zhen Xian's initial burst of aura could not increase his advantage, so it slowly weakened. Left with no choice, he soared into the air and returned to the ground. The moment Zhen Xian's feet touched the ground, his 5 fingers turned into a palm. Then he thrust a palm at Xiaochen. Xiaochen, who was in the air, immediately felt the surrounding space twist. A palm radiating Buddhist light headed for him unhurriedly. Break! Regardless of whether it was real or fake, Xiaochen could not make out what this palm strike was. He raised his saber and executed the flawless saber technique's heaven-swallowing stance. All sorts of mysterious phenomena shot out from Xiaochen's body. Just as that palm strike was about to arrive, he swung his saber and swallowed it all up. Instantly, Xiaochen felt his entire body swell up uncomfortably, as if he would explode. The Taiji Yinyang veritable essence diagram in Xiaochen's dantian spun rapidly. Light and shadows danced in the surroundings, forming an even larger Taiji diagram that merged with the surroundings. Go! After barely suppressing the other party's palm strike, Xiaochen drew his saber again, mixing the other party's palm strike into his saber light, and sending it to Zhen Xian. Damn it! Caught off guard, Zhen Xian forced out 100% of his strength. A terrifying Buddhist might burst out, making everyone's hearts tremble. Zhen Xian punched and shattered the palm strike in saber light. However, his body was forced back 10 steps before he could stabilize himself. His expression turned sullen. Senior brother. Yan Feng paled in shock. He had not expected that even when his senior brother made a move, he would not be able to gain much of an advantage. Facing the other party's full-powered, surging Buddhist might, Xiaochen held his saber horizontally in front of him and barely blocked it. However, he still took 3 steps back. Zhen Xian truly lived up to being one of the top 10 true inheritors of the profound light temple. Even in the 3 blessed lands, he would rank within the top 10. Although Zhen Xian could not do anything to Xiaochen, Xiaochen did not want to face such a terrifying opponent who used his full power, either. In the end, both sides would end up severely injured. Zhen Xian held the advantage in cultivation and physical body, so he might have the last laugh. It was not wise to clash head-on with Zhen Xian now. At the very least, he had to wait until he broke through first. Let's go. With a thought, Xiaochen stopped wasting time. He grabbed Yang Qing's hand and soared into the air, flying towards the Buddha-seeking platform. Wang Su, who rushed over, happened to see this scene and could not help being startled. Unexpectedly, Xiaochen managed to escape so easily from Zhen Xian's hands. Wang Su was still waiting for the other party to truly fall into danger, so that he could help and bargain. When Zhen Xian saw Xiaochen soar into the air, he immediately became enraged. You want to leave? Scram down here. Zhen Xian roared, and a gargantuan divine eagle claw descended from the sky. It tore through the clouds and headed for Xiaochun and Yangqing, who were in the air. The range of the gargantuan claw did not give anyone a chance to dodge. It looked like it would grab Xiaochun and Yangqing to death. Xiaochun smiled faintly. His figure flashed, and he executed Dermic Whirl. Then a saber light chopped into the sky. The saber light directly chopped off the divine eagle's gargantuan claw, and fell to the ground. Blood leaked out of a corner of Zhen Xian's lips. When he saw the descending divine eagle claw, he quickly dodged with Yanfeng. The area below turned chaotic. No one dared to linger, fleeing in all directions. Chapter 1688. However, it was clearly not wise to face Xiaochun. However, Zhen Xian, who was the easiest to go up, closed his eyes and rested, not moving blindly. The words on the signboard were already illegible. Xiaochun sent out a palm strike, and the doors rumbled, shaking for a while. However, they did not open. Furthermore, Zhen Xian was still waiting for them when they returned. The distribution of benefits was also in his favor. There was no need for Xiaochun to reject it. When the group looked ahead, it was as Yangqing said, an ancient, modeled temple. The group was led by a cat demon into the mysterious and ancient temple of the Buddha Inquiry platform. Hovering above the temple was the gigantic head of a female Buddha statue. Floating above the temple, it was exceptionally frightening. Magic skills were left behind by the Buddhist Taoist sect in the previous epoch. In this epoch, the Buddhist sect had returned to zero. The Buddha ancestor was the Mahayana revered Buddha. Xiaochun shook his head and said, "How could they be killed so easily?" The fiendish demons in the temple probably heard the strange movements at the foot of the Buddha-seeking mountain, and sensed it long ago. They were just waiting for us. The two blackbirds that left earlier should be the fiendish demons in human form or their true form. Our movements should have already been exposed. Soon fiendish demon experts will rush over. Allying with this group of people would be a great help to Xiaochun, who was about to enter the temple and still had to guard against Zhen Xian. The few Confucian institution disciples at the back could not take it anymore. Wuxia did his best to calm down. He said, "Good 73 it is. In that case, we will swear an alliance with the will left behind by the divine vein powerhouses in this fiendish demon battlefield." Xiaochun said sullenly as he looked down. Xiaochun's earlier saber strike traced back to the source. Not only did it break Wuxia's divine eagle claw, but it also chopped off the consciousness and soul that Wuxia had attached to it. Wuxia's physical body was not injured, but his soul was significantly injured. In such a state he could still ascend the Buddha-seeking platform. Wuxia's face sank, immediately turning unsightly. He smiled embarrassedly and said, "Brother Xiao, there is no need to do this. Zhen Xian will recover from his injuries very quickly. If we work with him." "What is that?" "Wait a minute." Xiaochun looked at Wuxia. Wuxia was a true inheritor of the Confucian institution, and had stayed in the Blessed Lands longer than Xiaochun. Wuxia should know a little more. A young girl in white walked out. She had a pair of furry cat ears on her head, and her wild appearance carried a hint of cuteness. "Let's enter the temple first. Without going through a life-and-death battle, there's no way to obtain any fortuitous encounters. This situation, I don't understand either." The Buddhist sects of the martial epoch could not cultivate magic skills, only martial arts. After making their vows, the estrangement between them lessened a little. After all, they were now on the same boat. The two blackbirds let out strange cries and flapped their wings as they flew into the temple. In the sky, Xiaochun dispersed his Dermic Whirl and gently leaped with Yangqing, landing firmly on the ground. Wuxia and the others immediately felt like they were facing a great enemy, their right hands grasping their swords. "Just look at you, hiding your thoughts and pretending to be magnanimous. No matter how good your swordsmanship is, your awe-inspiring righteousness can't be that high. I don't need to be afraid of you at all. If you want to work together with Zhen Xian, I'll kill you now." Zhen Xian did not think about anything else for now. He sat down and meditated, quickly recovering from the injuries to his soul. "What's going on? This seems different from what I expected." A fiendish demon took the initiative to bring me to seek fortuitous encounters. Did I hear wrong? Wuxia's group was not the only ones who saw an opportunity. The other sect disciples, who had been waiting for a long time, also took action, soaring into the air. This kicked up a boundless cloud of dust that spread in all directions, making everyone cough endlessly. Suddenly, Xiaochen saw something startling him. When Xiaochen and the others heard that, they exchanged glances, revealing surprised expressions. Xiaochen gave those two black birds a strange look. Just as he wanted to do something, he discovered that the black birds had already disappeared, so he could only give up. Amid a loud sound, the huge eagle claw filled with spirituality and Buddhist might suddenly descended. Furthermore, didn't they say that fiendish demons were tyrannical and inhumane? Wuxia stretched out his hand and scattered the dust. Peering through it, he vaguely saw two figures landing behind the cliff and ascending the Buddha-seeking platform. Seeing Xiaochen's trump card, Wuxia made up his mind. Only by following Xiaochen could he truly gain something. An oath to the will of the Buddha-seeking platform was very restrictive. No one dared to mess around. When Xiaochen looked up, he saw that the sky was dark with dark clouds covering it. Not far away, a stone stele stood with 3 ancient Buddhist characters written on it. Brother Xiao, I've thought it through. We should still form an alliance. You guys get 6 and we get 4. Wuxia shook his head. Don't look at me. I don't know what's going on either. In the past, a senior brother who survived came out and said that this temple is very dangerous. This temple is full of danger. If 10 people enter, at least half will die inside. Seeing that Xiaochen was not willing to say more, Yangqing did not pursue the matter. She could guess some things in her heart. Kassier. Just as Xiaochen was about to console Yangqing and tell her that it was just a misperception, a familiar voice came from behind. The Buddha-seeking platform was not easy to climb. Brother Xiao. Earlier it was 6 and 4. Now it's 7 and 3. Xiaochen looked at Yangqing at the side and discovered that her expression was strange. The young cat-eared girl muttered to herself. Then she looked at Xiaochen and the others and said, "Come on in. I will bring you all to search for fortuitous encounters and show you the way." Xiaochen took the lead and headed for the temple's doors. Xiaochen's words were like a sword stabbing into Wuxia's heart, making him feel very uncomfortable. He did not know how to rebut. The young cat-eared girl glanced at Xiaochen and the others. She did not find this strange. Instead, she sized them up mischievously. "Young Master Xiao, what was that earlier?" Yangqing's heart pounded heavily. The earlier scene was truly an eye-opener. Yangqing knew a little about it. The 4 great temples of the Central Great Realm all had similar Buddhist sect secret techniques. Flying in this fiendish demon battlefield was already extremely stressful. Furthermore, this Buddha-seeking mountain was not low. Furthermore, one had to face the Buddhist might. Wuxia asked seriously as he strode over. In this fiendish demon battlefield, the will of a divine vein powerhouse was everywhere. It was like the heavenly Tao of this small world. As the sky was dark, at first glance, it looked like a cold Buddha's head floating above the temple. Xiaochen did not explain too much. "It's just some trump cards. My cultivation is much weaker than Zhen Xian's. To prevent him from pestering me, I directly used them. The fiendish demon battlefield that opens once every 20 years is open again." Xiaochen rubbed his eyes vigorously. Only then did he discover that it was just an illusion. The ancient temple's doors were tightly shut. The signboard hung in the air, and 2 small blackbirds chirped. Xiaochen smiled coldly and said, "I know what you are thinking. You must be disappointed that you did not see Zhen Xian injure me. The Confucian sect's righteous qi emphasizes openness. No matter what one's thoughts are, one should be open. That female Buddha statue should be standing in the deep abyss behind Buddha-seeking mountain." Buddha-seeking mountain covered her entire body. Only her head could be seen. Right after Zhen Xian spoke, the temple's doors suddenly opened. Fearing that Xiaochen and Yangqing would go too far, Zhen Xian led his 3 junior brothers into the air, resisting the pressure from above as they climbed up with much difficulty. When Zhen Xian looked back, it was the heavenly shaking mountains Confucian institution's Wuxia's group walking over with smiles on their faces. Zhen Xian felt suspicious. thinking that Xiaochen cultivated another secret technique. After all, there were all sorts of strange things in this great thousand realms. Although cultivation techniques and martial techniques that could allow cultivators to grow larger were rare, they did exist. Zhen Xian could vaguely make out the words Buddha-seeking platform. Let's go. Why is the secret technique that fellow executed so similar to the major magic skill Dermic world recorded in the Buddhist sect's ancient texts? Wang Su immediately revealed an expression of regret. I was too careless. I should have made a move earlier and killed the two blackbirds. The temple was large and occupied a large area. However, it gave off a death qi that made one uncomfortable. The Confucian Institution's group hesitated for a moment before gritting their teeth and following. After saying that, Wang Su took the lead. Yang Qing did not hesitate to follow. Chapter 1689. The group of 6 stepped into the temple and immediately felt a cold and gloomy aura attacking them. They hurriedly circulated their energy to resist. The cat-eared girl leading the way turned her head to look at Xiaochen and said, "Don't be surprised. Before the old master was alive, we fiendish demons had been managing this temple. We will carry out a test for the disciples who come here to seek fortuitous encounters. Those who can pass will naturally receive various benefits." Old master? Which old master? Xiaochen asked cautiously. The young cat-eared girl raised her head and said, "He is the divine vein powerhouse that you speak of. Although he did not create this world, when he subdued this fiendish demon battlefield, he naturally became the master of all the fiendish demons. Even though he has been dead for tens of thousands of years, the will he left behind still influences this world. No demon dares to disobey him. Just like the rules, they have to be obeyed. Those who don't will be struck to death by lightning. There are no exceptions." Upon hearing that, Wang Su could not help relaxing significantly. It turned out that these fiendish demons had restrictions as well. He smiled faintly and said, "I understand. However, what I don't understand is that most fiendish demons are violent and hostile to our sect disciples. Why do I get the feeling that you don't have the characteristics of an ordinary demon? Or are all the demons in this place like you?" The young cat-eared girl looked at Wang Su with a strange expression. She said coldly, "To us fiendish demons, most of your sect disciples are tyrannical, not showing any mercy when killing fiendish demons. Every year, there are blind or greedy sect disciples who die on this Buddha-seeking platform." When Wang Su heard this, he immediately felt embarrassed. "Pretend I never asked. Every hall is guarded by fiendish demons. All you need to do is pass the test, and you'll be able to enter. Whether or not you can obtain the treasures in the palace will depend on your own luck." After the cat-eared girl finished speaking, she leaped up gracefully, leaped over a few tall walls, and disappeared from everyone's sight. As Xiaochen watched her leave, he carefully thought about what the cat-eared girl had said. Wang Su muttered, "It looks like this place is different from what we imagined. It is not as dangerous as it is rumored to be. Young Master Xiao, why don't we split up?" Seeing that this temple was not as scary as rumored, Wang Su and the others immediately thought of something else. He didn't want to travel with Xiaochen anymore. Xiaochen said generously, "As you wish." "Goodbye." Wang Su and the other 3 revealed smiles. Then they rushed in with anticipation, preparing to rush to Wise Heart Palace. "Senior brother, where are we going?" "Of course it's the Hall of Wisdom. We need to be quick. Otherwise, when more people arrive, we won't be able to get anything out of it. Damn it. If I had known that this temple had such rules, I wouldn't have given in to Xiaochen's mood and given him a 30-70 split. Who does he think he is? He even dares to lecture me on how to cultivate righteous energy." Feeling some regret, Wang Su revealed some anger on his face. When he thought of what Xiaochen said to him, he showed a displeased expression. Only Xiaochen and Yang Qing remained. Yang Qing said, "Young Master Xiao, what brings you to this Buddha-seeking platform?" Xiaochen said honestly, "I want to comprehend it. I don't have any requests for the enlightened heart tea or other medicinal pills. Originally, I thought that this place would be an ancient holy land of the Buddhist sect. It looks like I was wrong. What about you?" Yang Qing paused for a while before saying, I'm here to retrieve something. Now that we are here, it is time to part. Xiaochen did not probe further. Everyone had their own secrets. He nodded and said, I'll take my leave here then. Yangqing glanced at Xiaochen and smiled bitterly to herself before leaving. As Xiaochen watched the other party leave, he entered deep thought. Along the way, he had not been able to help Yangqing much at all. His usefulness to her was negligible. Given that, this girl was indeed loyal to him. Actually, it did not matter if she came alone. Indeed, Yangqing only wanted to help him out a little. However, she had not expected Xiaochen to be so strong. Xiaochen did not need her help at all. Naturally, he did not need her help. Now that they had arrived at their destination, they had their own things to do. Of course, they had to go their separate ways. With the Buddhist prayer beads in hand, Xiaochen wandered around the temple aimlessly. The doors of the halls that represented fortuitous encounters were all tightly shut. When Xiaochen probed with his spiritual sense, he would get bounced back. There was an impenetrable energy protecting him. After opening a door and defeating the fiendish demon guarding it, he could search as he pleased. Of course, the different halls might have other tests aside from the fiendish demon guarding them. Xiaochen did not care about this. His original purpose was to search for a fate with Buddhism, to see if he could comprehend anything that would be of help to the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. However, a good temple had become so utilitarian. Furthermore, there were fiendish demons residing in it. Xiaochen did not think that there would be any fate with Buddhism left. Even if there was, it would be tainted by the dust of the world and the filth of the human heart. Hence, Xiaochen was not in the mood to open any of the doors. However, that did not matter. In any case, he had already obtained plenty of unexpected gains before he came up. With the help of those strange flowers and herbs, his Buddha nature was much stronger than before. Furthermore, his veritable essence energy was cleansed by the white jasmine flower. Furthermore, Xiaochen obtained an even more precious earth and fire golden lotus. No matter how he looked at it, this trip was worth it. As Xiaochen casually toyed with the Buddhist Sarira beads in his hand, he entered a different state of mind as he walked through this ancient, dilapidated, sinister temple. His heart was calm, and an invisible Buddhist glow was emitted from his body. Vaguely, it formed a faint connection with the ancient aura in this place. Xiaochen himself did not feel anything special. He only felt that there was something special about it. He only felt that aside from being cold and dilapidated, everything he saw was the peace of the Buddhist sect. The heart of a pure child? Under the hazy moonlight, the young cat-eared girl sitting on the roof revealed a shocked expression as she looked in the direction where Xiaochen was. Flap. 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 Just at this moment, a black crow flew over and landed on the young cat-eared girl's arm. Someone else is here. The young cat-eared girl's figure flashed, and the doors of the temple suddenly opened. Then she appeared out of nowhere and walked out. There were many people outside, but the ones leading them were two bald monks. The young cat-eared girl looked around and fixed her gaze on the monk on the left. This was Zhen Xian, who had just finished treating his injuries. Whoosh! The appearance of the young cat-eared girl elicited startled cries. The various sect disciples behind whispered to each other. Like Xiaochen and Wang Su, they did not know what was going on. However, they did not dare to ask anything. The reason was none other than, with Zhen Xian blocking the way, who dared to interrupt him? That would just be seeking death. Are you here to search for fortuitous encounters? Come in with me. Seeing the young cat-eared girl turn around, Yanfeng asked softly, Senior brother, what's going on? Zhen Xian's expression did not change. He replied indifferently, just go in and take a look, and you will know. After saying that, Zhen Xian strode forward and entered the temple. The various sect disciples behind quickly followed, not wanting to fall behind. The young cat-eared girl repeated what she said to Xiaochen's group, leaving the group of people exchanging glances with each other. Then, she prepared to turn and leave. Wait a moment. Zhen Xian, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. His gaze locked on the young cat-eared girl, his tone somewhat hostile. Right after Zhen Xian spoke, a formless Buddhist might spread out. Suddenly, it put a huge pressure on everyone. What advice do you have? Zhen Xian asked coldly. Have you seen a white-clad bladesman with a young girl who exudes a cold intent by his side? This is not a question that I should answer, nor is it something you should be concerned about. The young cat-eared girl replied softly without changing her expression. Zhen Xian snorted coldly. Interesting. To think that a lowly fiendish demon like you really thinks of yourself as the master of my Buddhist sect's holy land. Whoosh! Right after Zhen Xian spoke, he executed the killing move that he had been storing up power for a long time in one breath. Zhen Xian spread his 5 fingers into claws. His fingers immediately glowed with a golden light, looking like they were made of metal. Zhen Xian's figure flashed, and a divine eagle bathed in Buddhist light spread its wings and flew up from behind him. This allowed the eagle to move as fast as lightning. It did not even leave an afterimage as it charged over to the young cat-eared girl, preparing to grab her. Who could have imagined that this surefire lightning-fast attack would grab nothing? The young cat-eared girl turned into an exquisite white cat and nimbly dodged. The white cat gently leaped up and landed nimbly on the roof. Then it turned its head to look at Zhen Xian. Then, it leaped up a few more times and vanished from everyone's sight. Zhen Xian withdrew his technique, feeling depressed. Then he waved his hand and said, "Little evil creature, you ran fast." Chapter 1690. Zhen Xian pushed off with his feet and blocked Wuxia. The other Buddhist sect disciples surrounded him without saying anything. However, the young cat-eared girl vaguely felt that something was wrong. She casually picked up a Buddhist scripture. Before she could look at it, it turned to ashes in her hand. 1 hour later, Xiaochen refined almost all the strange flowers and herbs that he had consumed earlier. Cripple him. Wuxia walked out alone with a cocky expression. The young cat-eared girl revealed a mocking smile. Xiaochen, who had returned to reality from his transcendent state, broke out in a cold sweat from the true meaning of this saber strike. Strange whoosh. Most people would ignore this signboard when they saw it. I'll go over and take a look. Xiaochen sighed softly and chose to give up. There were really no fortuitous encounters in this place that he could pick up. He quickly sat down cross-legged and held the Buddhist Sarira pearls in his hand. Then he started to comprehend the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber techniques resolving the mundane. Far away, the young cat-eared girl on the roof looked at the doors of the Wisdom Heart Hall. While in the mundane world, one's heart sought to transcend. Once one's mundane heart was resolved, it was eternal. The esteemed monk who created this saber technique was simply too terrifying. No wonder the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique was classified as a forbidden technique in the Hidden Spirit Temple, not favored by the orthodox sections. However, now, Xiaochen was fully capable of taking a gamble. Zhen Xian's sudden attack startled the disciples of the other sections. Only Zhen Xian dared to be so bold. Does my heart look good? One of the main reasons why many people could not obtain a Dao tool was that while they were strong, they could not block the attacks of the true inheritors of the other sections. Xiaochen's vague connection to the nameless temple suddenly became clear at this moment. He pushed open all the doors, and the dust fell off. When he looked around, it was indeed as he guessed. Zhen Xian revealed a smile. It looks like we do not need to go through the test of the Wisdom Heart Hall again. With this thought, Xiaochen decided to go to the 10,000 weapon pavilion to search for a Dao tool. However, just as he was about to leave, he noticed that the door of a distant palace was open. Just as she was about to retract her gaze, she saw a black heart. It was so black that it caused her heart to palpitate. With just a single glance, the cat-eared young lady's expression changed drastically. What remained in the scriptures were the comprehensions left behind by countless high monks in the Heart Cultivation Palace. However, there were too many of them, and it was impossible to obtain all of them. He could only take one and use it for himself. As soon as he thought of it, Xiaochen put away the Sarira beads and walked back. In any case, this Buddha-seeking platform was very different from what he had imagined. If even the most glorious past couldn't last forever, then what was the point of living? After rising to his feet, Xiaochen was in no hurry to leave. Instead, he began to practice the heart of the mundane in the Heart Cultivation Palace. From the number of praying mats on the ground, one could imagine how many people had meditated here in the past. The ancient modeled murals on the walls proved the glory of the past. The huge Buddha statue on the ground could be vaguely distinguished from the exquisite carving. As long as there was a great battle, he would be able to break through, and he would no longer have to be afraid of joining hands with the top disciples of the blessed and heavenly lands to cause trouble. Hey, although there were all sorts of concerns, there was no doubt about the might of this saber technique. It was compatible with his saber Dao. This was definitely Xiao Chen's strongest move. 4 hours later, all his comprehensions were condensed into 8 words. Resolving the heart of the mundane is eternal. This was how human nature had always been. Xiao Chen gently moved the Saraira beads with his right hand. His footsteps were neither fast nor slow. As he observed his surroundings, he also used the Buddhist beads to digest the strange flowers and herbs that he consumed earlier, strengthening his heart of the Buddha. This was similar to what Xiao Chen comprehended earlier. No matter how glorious the past was, it couldn't last forever. What was the point of living? Just one Zhenxian alone could deal with him. Furthermore, there was still Yan Feng and the other monks. At this moment, Xiao Chen could not help but feel immense regret. If his companions were still around, he would have been able to escape by working together and using unstoppable might. The black crow flew back to the young cat-eared girl's arm. Then its figure flashed, and the temple doors opened. Xiao Chen absorbed all the burning scriptures. Immediately, the words of countless esteemed monks appeared in his mind. It was a very simple principle. At the final moment, if others could not obtain it, they would definitely think of ways to prevent you from obtaining it. Such an obsession was because the heart of the mundane was covered in dust. If one could not comprehend the mundane, the various things of the mundane were all fabricated. However, the moment Xiao Chen came out, he saw Zhenxian and Yan Feng rushing over, leading the monks of the various monasteries of the Patala mountain. Xiao Chen's face immediately sank. Xiao Chen looked around. Finally, his gaze landed on the headless Buddha. Suddenly, he felt a sense of comprehension. Dilapidated, chaotic, and decaying. This was the scene that Xiao Chen saw. Xiao Chen did not go to the 10,000 weapon pavilion first, because he had some misgivings. He needed the ability to fight one against many. The Saraira beads in Xiao Chen's hand released a faint light. Slowly, only a portion of the chaotic words remained. Only a portion of comprehension related to resolving the mundane remained. Time was just this cruel. No matter how prosperous one's incense was back then, no matter how many powerful and accomplished monks there were, they could not withstand the mercilessness of time. The result went without saying. No matter what trump cards Wang Su had, he had nowhere to run. This time, she could not dodge like when she faced Jin Xian. Without saying anything else, Wang Su turned and fled. This was the Black Lotus Church's holy son Ming Xian. Xiao Chen felt that he would break through his bottleneck at any moment. The opportunity of the Buddha-seeking mountain made his accumulations even stronger. Once he broke through, Xiao Chen was confident that he could immediately fight with the top 10 disciples of the 3 blessed lands. However, the young cat-eared girl could not answer Xiao Chen. The holy son Ming Xian grabbed the young cat-eared girl's neck with one hand and lifted her up. Just earlier, the other 3 holy son Ming Xian's companions wanted to work together to kill Wang Su. Who could have imagined that Wang Su would make the first move? They all died miserably, and Xiao Chen obtained all the gains. The others probably only thought about it, and did not dare to make a move. After all, this temple was very strange. Not everyone was as strong and confident as Zhen Xian. Even if the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique did not improve, it would still be able to compete head-on with peak people like Sheng Guanlei and Wang Yueming. No wonder such a place was empty. There would not be any fortuitous encounters of the Buddhist sect. Naturally, there was no need for fiendish demons to guard it. Just in that instant, Xiao Chen comprehended the true meaning of resolving the mundane in the incomplete Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique, and branded it in the depths of his soul, making it hard for him to forget. If one was not careful, one might end up falling into the demonic Tao if one was not careful. As for Zhen Yuan, Xiao Chen still could not figure him out. He needed to improve the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique further, before he would be confident. A gentle breeze blew. and the scattered scripture leaves on the ground drifted around Xiaochun before burning up. There was a large pile of tattered prayer mats on the ground, as well as a collapsed headless Buddha statue, and some yellowed Buddhist scripture leaves. The place was dark and empty. With one glance, one could see everything clearly, but there was nothing there. If I resolve the mundane, would I still be me? The white-clad monk said to the young cat-eared girl with a faint smile. Senior brother, where are we going now? Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly, feeling somewhat confused. His forehead swelled up, and a swastika appeared uncontrollably. Her eyes suddenly released a dense, black gem-like light as she peered through the white-clad monk's clothes. She saw that his ribs were crystalline and transparent, giving off a Buddhist light, looking ethereal and spiritual. After walking for a long time, Xiaochen had not seen any palace hall whose doors were open in the first place. Most temples were similar to the heart cultivation hall. It was a place where monks meditated and practiced Zen. This startled Xiaochen. He knew that he had coincidentally obtained a great opportunity. Zhenxian showed an uncertain expression. After a while he said, "Get a few people to stand guard outside the temple. The others follow me to the heart cultivation palace." Feeling cautious, Xiaochen walked over while holding the Buddhist prayer beads. Then he raised his head to take a look. From the tattered signboard, he could barely make out that this was the heart cultivation palace. As Xiaochen continued looking in, the more he looked, the more shocked he became. This was a perfect and flawless Buddhist holy body. When Xiaochen opened his eyes again, he felt a cold sweat all over his body. This was too scary. This saber strike put an even stronger pressure on him than breaking the mundane. Resolve the mundane. Can the mundane really resolve the mundane? Plop! Greed. Xiaochen and his senior and junior brothers all died because of this greed. There were too many scriptures, boundlessly messy. When Xiaochen heard them, it felt like a buzzing noise. He could not understand anything. On the other side, Xiaochen, who had already entered the depths of the temple, did not know that many people had already arrived at the Buddha-seeking platform. He continued walking casually. When Xiaochen saw the person who arrived, his eyes lit up. The other party wore white monk robes, looking spotless and extraordinary. He gave off a gentle Buddhist might, inspiring trust. The word breaking the precepts was so bold that it made one feel uncomfortable. Chapter 1691. A trace of irritation appeared in her body for some reason. Her bright eyes turned from pure black to scarlet. For some reason, Xiaochen's words rang out in her mind. The righteous qi of the Confucian sect emphasized openness. Even if one had any schemes, one had to say it openly. Grandpa Tree had reached the limits of his lifespan long ago, and could not use his full power to block that evil Buddha holy sun. Lingering here would only attract trouble, which was not what she wanted. Zhenxian entered deep thought. Then he revealed an expression of understanding. No wonder. This fellow killed his fellow sect members. That's why his heart was broken. At this moment, the young cat-eared girl was already standing on the wall, coldly eyeing the holy sun Mingxian. After entering the temple, no matter how strong the other party was, the young cat-eared girl would not fear him. The other fiendish demons did not say a word. They attacked at the same time, surrounding the holy sun Mingxian. However, it seemed like there were some restrictions, preventing the holy sun Mingxian from bringing out his full strength. The little strength that he displayed was not enough to make the holy sun Mingxian retreat. The old face on the wall said in a deep voice, "It is the girl who came with that bladesman. No matter who you choose, you will be able to resolve this calamity." Zhenxian's face lit up in joy. He mainly cultivated beneficence and could not kill recklessly. However, subduing demons could increase beneficence, which was very beneficial to his cultivation. "Speak. Did you see a white-clad bladesman with a stern face? If you do not speak, I will gouge out your eyes." The young cat-eared girl nodded. "I understand." The holy sun Mingxian smiled and said, "Interesting. To think that a fiendish demon born in response to a calamity, and considered itself the master of the temple. What dense fiendish qi! You fiendish demon indeed revealed your true form in the end." The holy sun Mingxian forced his way in. Then he swept his gaze around, trying to sense the distance from Xiao Chun. However, in the next moment, hundreds of branches shot out of the ground, each of them a lethal weapon. They grew continuously and tangled together, forming a flood dragon that charged at Ming Xian. Then she fell over, dying with a remaining grievance. The Holy Sun Ming Xian revealed a smile as he swung his hand. The young cat-eared girl crashed into the wall, and blood leaked out of a corner of her lips. Right after Xiao Chen spoke, the stone table in the courtyard morphed into a humanoid stone monster. He opened his mouth and let out a terrifying roar. The sound waves shook the entire palace, and many of the monks behind him fell to the ground, covering their ears in pain. However, in the blink of an eye, the cat-eared girl's expression changed greatly. The scripture echoing in her ears entered her sea of consciousness and soul. Bang! The Holy Sun Ming Xian muttered to himself. Then he shook his head and chose to give up. He looked around and said coldly, "Come out then. Stop hiding. I'll deal with them in one go." Soon the monk said joyfully, "Senior brother Zhen Xian, there are 5 wisdom tea leaves and a bottle of Buddhist sage pills in his spatial ring." Withered yellow tree branches hung from the walls. This was where the star venerate level tree spirit was. The Holy Sun Ming Xian frowned slightly. It looked like the rumors were true. There were indeed star venerate level fiendish demons in this Buddha-seeking platform. A palm imprint smashed over, completely shattering the branches, turning them into countless tree splinters that fluttered in all directions. The cat-eared girl, who was doing her best to suppress the fiendish demon blood in her body, showed an extremely unsightly expression. When she saw Zhen Xian charge in, she could no longer control herself. Wang Su was at the brink of death. Although he held his sword and did his best, the many monks still beat him until he was covered in wounds. Furthermore, Zhen Xian did not even make a move. His heart shattered, and the fiendish qi invaded him. Zhen Xian's life force quickly faded. He looked at the terrifying cat-eared girl covered in scarlet light, filled with dissatisfaction. The cat-eared girl said coldly, showing no expression on her face. However, there was an inviolable will in this place that interfered with his mental energy, preventing him from sensing it. After thinking for a while, she came to an answer and quickly left this place. "I can see the answer in your eyes. Tell me, where is he?" Ming Xian asked with a smile as he pressed forward. The Holy Sun Ming Xian floated in the air, showing an outstanding grace and an indescribable grace. Some of the more serious ones even had a tyrannical nature, living off killing. No matter what, they could not break free. However, the immortal epic was destroyed, and the 6 paths of reincarnation no longer existed. The world was in chaos, and the immortal qi was no longer pure. No fiendish demon could break free from the tainted immortal qi in their bloodlines. Unyielding might, unyielding might. Panic filled the Holy Sun Ming Xian's face, fear, and confusion. How could it be like this? How could it be like this? The cat-eared girl became even more terrifying. A dense scarlet light spread from her body, looking exceptionally strange. That evil Buddha Holy Sun drew out all the fiendish blood in your body, causing the end of your life. It is almost exactly as the prophecy said. It depends on your choice. Whether you choose a bladesman with a pure heart, or the Azure Lotus Holy Daughters Nirmanakya, both can resolve your calamity. The many monks behind paled in fright. They cried out in horror and fled in all directions. The cat-eared girl found this strange. She asked, "The Azure Lotus Holy Daughters Nirmanakya?" Wang Su, who was on the ground, showed an unsightly expression. He felt incredibly ashamed and boundless regret. However, the claw mark on his chest caused him incredible pain. At this moment he could not even get up. The Holy Sun Ming Xian withdrew his hand and snorted coldly. A look of deep disdain flashed on his face. The shattered rocks on the ground slowly gathered with much difficulty. She did not die. The Holy Sun Ming Xian was not trying to purify her. Instead, he was using the scriptures to draw out the innately tainted bloodline of fiendish demons. Unyielding might. Once one grasped the Confucian sect's holy words, one would become stronger the stronger one would be. This would allow one's combat prowess to increase greatly in a short time. This was one of the Confucian sect disciples' life-saving means. It was extremely difficult to successfully cultivate. Rumor had it that the Azure Lotus Church's sect ancestor had 3,000 Nirmanakya cultivating in the world at the same time. When the 3,000 Nirmanakya obtained the Tao and merged with their true bodies, they could attain a supreme great Tao. A Buddha is born from the heart. All things are fated. You can use this to become a Buddha. You are just a golden jade on the outside but rotten on the inside. You even used an evil technique to temper your physical body. Let's see how you are going to destroy your mortal body in the future and achieve a dharmic body. Grandpa Tree, the people with a pure heart and a dark heart in the ancient Buddhist prophecy have all appeared. The cat-eared girl said with difficulty as she leaned against the wall with a pained expression. Wang Su used the holy words of the Confucian sect once again. However, he was horrified to discover that his righteous qi did not improve. However, just at this moment, a tree branch suddenly appeared on the ground, charging at Ming Xian at lightning speed. The Nirmanakya was born according to the emotions of the world's sentient beings. It might be completely different from the true body's character. They might not be the same person at all. This divine vein powerhouse has opened at least 6 apertures. Otherwise, the will that he left behind would not be so strong. The holy son Ming Xian's expression changed slightly. His figure flashed, barely dodging. 3 black crows descended from the withered old tree and turned into 3 strange people covered in feathers. On the other side, the cat-eared girl showed a pained expression as she did her best to suppress the berserk aura in her body. Covered in a scarlet light, she arrived at an ancient wall behind the temple. The cat-eared girl revealed a cold, mocking smile. Isn't this person too naive? If he wants to purify me, he needs to be at least a Cloud Sea Realm cultivator. This place does not welcome you. Sir, please leave. Back then, the evil Buddha Holy Son felt disdainful. Now he was right. After killing his fellow sect member, he could not even use unyielding might anymore. Evil Buddha Holy Son, go. Don't let the filth on your body contaminate this ancient cloud temple. The fiendish demons of the world all appeared after the destruction of the immortal epoch with immortal qi. This was what it meant to be born in response to a calamity. Your black star cat's eyes are really pretty good. Thanks to your fate with Buddha, you can actually see my heart. That is something that even the profound light temple's abbot could not discover. Zhen Xian put away the tea leaves and distributed the medicinal pills to the others. Then he looked coldly at Wang Su and said, "You are just a pitiful worm. Just live and die on your own. There is no need for me to break my abstinence for you." Haha, that startled me. It turns out that your heart is broken, and you cannot use the holy words of the Confucian sect. A Buddha image sat on a lotus platform behind Zhen Xian. This Buddha image also held Buddhist prayer beads and threw a palm strike. Without even thinking, Zhen Xian raised his arms, and the divine eagle bathed in Buddhist light soared into the sky. With one step, it arrived before the cat-eared girl. Whoosh! The holy son Ming Xian waved his hand and sent out an intense, piercing Buddhist light, blasting the stone monster into countless pieces of rubble that fell to the ground. A star venerate level fiendish demon? Unyielding might. The cat-eared girl looked at Xiao Chun with bloodshot eyes. After pausing for a moment, her figure flashed, heading straight for the back of the temple. The cat-eared girl did not get angry. She continued to look at the holy son Ming Xian coldly with a trace of disgust in her eyes. Zhen Xian laughed loudly and attacked at lightning speed, thoroughly injuring Wang Su to the point where he could no longer fight. Then he said coldly, "Search his body." In front of Hui Xian Hall, the Azure Lotus Church came from the Buddhist and Taoist religions. They believed in the Ajati matriarch. They were very strong and had many believers. However, the Buddhist and Taoist religions did not like them. The so-called Nirmanakya was similar to the Taoist religion's incarnation. However, it was different. Under the boundless might, the terrifying flood dragon formed by intertwining tree branches suddenly shattered, turning into wood shavings that drifted down like white snow. A white figure descended silently. As Xiaochen held the Buddhist Sarira pearls, he happened to see the scene of the cat-eared girl killing Zhen Xian. The cat-eared girl roared and used her greatest willpower to jump off the wall, no longer daring to stop the holy son Ming Xian. "You want to convert me?" The hand hidden in Zhen Xian's sleeve stretched out at lightning speed. Every fingernail was scarlet, 1 centimeter long, and incredibly sharp. This was the original sin of fiendish demons. They were born in response to a calamity, born impure. Suddenly, Zhen Xian's expression changed when he felt a terrifying fiendish qi. Zhen Xian swept his gaze across, and happened to see the cat-eared girl giving off an increasingly dense scarlet light. 3 unremarkable stalks of grass on the ground swayed gently and turned into 2 cold, youthful girls. A handsome man walked out of the bamboo forest in the distance, holding a long sword in his hand. Zhen Xian's sword pierced through Zhen Xian's chest. Then he ferociously grabbed and crushed Zhen Xian's heart. An old face appeared on the wall. A few willows fell down, soothing the young cat-eared girl's violent heart. As the holy Sun Ming Xian walked over step by step, his gentle appearance became exceptionally terrifying in the young cat-eared girl's eyes. The young cat-eared girl hid her hands in her sleeves. She did not even look at Zhen Xian's group, wanting to walk past them. A string of Buddhist prayer beads appeared on the holy Sun Ming Xian's right hand. Then he held the Buddhist prayer beads between his index and middle fingers and formed a hand seal. The holy Sun Ming Xian smiled faintly, and gently fiddled with the Buddhist prayer beads in his hand. Then he recited a scripture and said, "As I have heard, all life is sinful. The Buddhist Dharma is boundless, delivering all life from suffering." Could it be that the person she chose to resolve her calamity was not Xiaochen? Wang Su was very talented, having succeeded in practicing it half a year ago. However, he discovered that he could not use it now. "You want to debate Buddhist principles with me? Unfortunately, I do not have time to debate with you now. I will use a faster method." Xiaochen said that the holy Sun Ming Xian was narrow-minded but pretended to be magnanimous. There was no need to fear him. The stone monster spoke in the human language with a coarse voice. Ming Xian said with a smile as if he was joking, "Stop nagging. Don't force me." Chapter 1692. When Xiaochen sensed that startling fiendish qi, he stopped practicing the mundane heart and followed the fiendish qi over. Unexpectedly, the moment he landed, he saw such a startling scene. Xiaochen was not shocked at Zhen Xian's death. After all, he did not have a good impression of this bald monk. He would not feel any pity for Zhen Xian's death. However, he found it somewhat strange. When he saw that young cat-eared girl earlier, she had not been this strong. Now she was a little too strong, instantly killing Zhen Xian in one move. No matter how careless Zhen Xian was, he should not have been able to instantly kill her in one move. Clearly, that young cat-eared girl's current state was not quite right. It was like a genius with a great desolate Ian bloodline activating his bloodline. However, the situation of the young cat-eared girl was even worse. That aura was too sinister and uncontrollable. It did not follow any rules. After all, even after activating his great desolate Ian bloodline, Xiaochen would not be able to hold on for long. He had to quickly withdraw it. If the young cat-eared girl could not withdraw her bloodline, she might self-destruct and die soon. As Xiaochen watched the young cat-eared girl leave, he entered deep thought. She still had some rationality left. Earlier, she had suppressed her murderous intent toward him. She left in a hurry. Is she trying to save herself, or is she trying to do something else? After thinking for a while, Xiaochen followed. This young cat-eared girl had many secrets. It was hard not to be curious. Soon, Xiaochen saw the young cat-eared girl in the distance. He did not dare to get too close, carefully following her. The young cat-eared girl used her hands and feet to move quickly. She was already losing control of her fiendish qi. Where are we going? Xiaochen wondered, feeling suspicious. The young cat-eared girl did not enter the hall. Instead, she moved quickly, venturing deeper. After a while, Xiaochen's doubts were resolved. The young cat-eared girl left this ancient temple through the back door. With a thought, Xiaochen's figure flickered a few times, and he also left through the back door. Behind the temple was a vast, empty space. At the edge of the empty space was a deep abyss. In the deep abyss stood the female Buddha statue that Xiaochen had seen before. It was very tall and looked stifling. "Yangqing!" Xiaochen exclaimed softly. He saw Yangqing standing at the edge of the cliff. She was looking at the Buddha statue, speechless for a long time. The cat-eared girl's target was Yangqing, and she quickly ran toward her. Hearing Xiao Chen's call, Yang Qing turned her head. When she saw the cat-eared girl covered in scarlet light and completely transformed, her expression changed drastically. "Stop!" Xiao Chen bellowed and quickly chased after her. Having witnessed the cat-eared girl's strength before, he knew just how terrifying she was right now. He could instantly kill Zhen Xian in a single exchange. Against Yang Qing, there was even less to say. Damn it, it was too late. Xiao Chen stopped halfway. He discovered that he no longer dared to rush over to the cat-eared girl and stop her. Without much thought, Xiao Chen executed the divine lightning eye in an instant. 10 violet petals appeared in his right eye and spun rapidly. Thunder rumbled and dark clouds roiled as 10 terrifying bolts of tribulation lightning appeared. The wrath of the heavens was bound to strike with lightning. As a fiendish demon, the cat-eared girl was extremely sensitive to lightning tribulations. The moment the thunderclouds appeared, she sensed the subtle changes in the world. When the cat-eared girl looked up, she saw 10 thunderclouds gathering from all directions, gathering above her head. With a thought, the 10 petals in Xiao Chen's right eye merged into a complete purple flower of lightning. The 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness flared up. At this moment, the tribulation lightning in the sky also gathered together, sending down a terrifying bolt of lightning, illuminating the surroundings. While all this took a long time to describe, it actually happened in the blink of an eye, with a thought from Xiao Chen. The cat-eared girl's survival instincts made her stop moving. Then, she raised her hands to the sky and formed a clump of dense scarlet light, encasing herself within. Boom! The moment the cat-eared girl did all this, the purple lightning formed by the 10 bolts of tribulation lightning descended at this moment. Bang! The tribulation lightning pierced through the scarlet shield of light and blasted the cat-eared girl into the air. Then she lay on the ground screaming in pain. Seeing that the cat-eared girl was severely injured and weak, Xiao Chen heaved a sigh of relief. He felt mentally fatigued, and his footsteps became somewhat unsteady. Yang Qing's figure flashed and landed beside Xiao Chen. Then, she supported him and asked worriedly, "Are you all right?" Xiao Chen shook his head. He only felt somewhat fatigued. The might of the divine lightning eye's 4th layer had shocked him. The drain on him had also surpassed his expectations. Xiao Chen's mental energy was completely drained. He could not use it again, nor could he drive Dermic World. Speaking of which, why did you come to this place? Xiao Chen asked, feeling confused. This deep abyss, this female Buddha, everything was strange. Yang Qing remained silent for a long time before pointing at the female Buddha. I came for her. Her? Yes. This is the Kasyapa Buddha. Of the 3,000 Nirmanakya bodies, only one is female. She is known as the Miaoying Buddha Mother. This Buddha statue is one of the 8 remaining Miaoying Buddha Mother statues in the Great Thousand Realms. Xiao Chen did not understand. What does this have to do with you? Yang Qing looked at the Miaoying Buddha Mother statue and smiled bitterly. Because I am just someone's Nirmanakya body. I need to absorb the remnant faith energy of this Buddha statue, and then sacrifice myself to complete my true body. Actually, it is not really a sacrifice. The true body is me, and the Nirmanakya body is me. There is no difference. On the topic of sacrifice, Yang Qing was very open-minded. She did not feel any nostalgia or anything else. Xiao Chen understood. Now he finally understood the many mysteries surrounding Yang Qing. It was somewhat unfortunate. However, it was as Yang Qing said. The Nirmanakya was the true body, formed randomly based on the emotions of the world. Although the Nirmanakya body's character and temper were different from the true bodies, they were still one body in the end. There was no difference. As the two spoke, they did not notice that the severely injured young cat-eared girl was recovering at an incredible speed. Whoosh! The young cat-eared girl recovered most of her strength. Suddenly, she leaped up, moving as nimbly as a cat. Like a flash of lightning, she flew towards Yang Qing. Be careful. Xiao Chen reacted slightly faster. He instinctively stood in front of Yang Qing and grasped the 7 deadly sins in his hand. Damn it! Why are you always ruining my plans? I'll choose you, all right. The young cat-eared girl's remaining rationality raged and dissatisfied. However, she did not have much time left. She could not afford to wait. The young cat-eared girl moved at a speed that Xiaochen could not see clearly. Her long, sharp and slender finger tapped Xiaochen's forehead. The cat immediately controlled all of Xiaochen's life force. As long as she willed it, she could thrust her finger in, and Xiaochen would become like a deflated balloon, his life force quickly vanishing. Immediately, Xiaochen, who held the 7 deadly sins, did not dare to move at all. If you want to live, don't move. The young cat-eared girl snorted coldly. Then, she gently moved her finger and cut open Xiaochen's forehead. Blood seeped out. The young cat-eared girl moved her finger, using the blood as ink to carve a mysterious mark. Pa, pa, pa. The holy Sun Mingxian gently crushed the rock demon's head with his feet, producing crunching sounds as black blood seeped out. Many fiendish demons died miserably around the holy Sun Mingxian. The other stone shards on the ground were still moving, wanting to gather together, showing their strong life force. Tribulation lightning? The holy Sun Mingxian, who saw all this, ignored it. The sudden appearance of the tribulation lightning attracted his attention. Who is undergoing tribulation? It does not seem like it. It feels like someone summoned the tribulation lightning. The holy Sun Mingxian thought back to the information he obtained. Xiaochen controlled the tribulation lightning on Thunder Controlling Peak to face Shangguan Lei. A brilliant light flashed in the holy Sun Mingxian's eyes. Then he revealed an expression of joy. Instead of hiding properly, you dare to search for fortuitous encounters everywhere. You are seeking death. Boom. The holy Sun Mingxian stomped on the ground with his right foot, and a Buddhist might spread out. The many stones still moving stubbornly shattered into powder. The stone monster, which had an exceptionally tenacious life force, was completely annihilated. After doing all this, the holy Sun Mingxian did not rush to leave. He felt a gaze on him from start to end. The holy Sun Mingxian understood. It was that star venerate level tree spirit. If it was truly capable, it would have come out and destroyed me long ago. Clearly it feared something, or perhaps it did not have long to live. However, the holy Sun Mingxian could not be careless. He had to guard against the other party risking his life. After thinking about what backup plans to prepare, the holy Sun Mingxian gently leaped up and chased after the tribulation lightning's aura. The holy Sun Mingxian moved strangely fast. His feet did not move at all. Only a black lotus imprinted on the ground seemed to carry him, leaving behind many afterimages. After leaving the temple, the holy Sun Mingxian looked up and happened to see the transformed cat-eared young woman withdrawing her finger. The young woman withdrew her fiendish qi and continuously condensed it in her body. Finally, she turned into a white cat and slept at the side. Before Xiaochen could catch his breath, he revealed a fatigued expression. Then, he turned to look at the holy Sun Mingxian with shock in his eyes. It's him. Chapter 1693. Before Xiaochen could figure out what the mark on his forehead was, he held up the 7 deadly sins and stood in front of Yangqing. When Xiaochen saw this white-clad monk arrive, 4 words automatically appeared in his mind. This person is hostile. I finally meet you. I'm the Black Lotus Church's Mingxian, a profound light temple Yin generation disciple. When Mingxian saw Xiaochen, he did not panic. He smiled faintly and introduced himself. Xiaochen revealed an expression of surprise. To think that a Black Lotus Church disciple could join an Orthodox Buddhist sect, and even enter the fiendish demon battlefield. Xiaochen's mind was in a mess. He really could not figure it out. The Orthodox Buddhist sects and the Black Lotus Church, which believed in the evil Buddha, were mortal enemies. To think that this white-clad monk openly joined the profound light temple. Young Master Xiao, what's going on? Xiaochen did not have time to explain his grudge with the Black Lotus Church. He whispered, "Go and absorb the Miao-yin Buddhist mother's incense first. I'll block him. If necessary, I'll lure him away." Xiaochen did not dare to underestimate this holy Sun Mingxian. Not only was the other party's cultivation much higher than Xiaochen's, but the other party's cultivation was also much higher. Not only was the other party's cultivation much higher than his, but more importantly, the other party felt unfathomable and unfathomable. If Xiao Chun did not break through in his cultivation, he did not have much chance of defeating the other party. If only he had more time. Take care. Yang Qing did not delay. After saying take care, she leaped into the air and jumped off the cliff, heading for the base of the Buddha statue. The Holy Sun Mingxian smiled softly and said, "Not bad. Finally, there are only the two of us left. Come back with me." Right after the Holy Sun Mingxian spoke, he leaped into the air and flew over, not wanting to drag things out lest something unexpected happen. Right after the Holy Sun Mingxian spoke, he left behind many afterimages in the air. Each afterimage looked dignified and dignified, like an ancient Buddha forming all sorts of hand seals. A vast and boundless Buddhist might immediately spread out in the surroundings. The Holy Sun Mingxian's palm pressed down, both real and fake. Immediately, the boundless Buddhist might condensed into a solid golden light and burst out from his palm. Then it pressed down on Xiao Chun with overwhelming force. In the face of this enormous pressure, Xiao Chun's face was expressionless, as if he was stiff. His entire body was motionless, like a solidified statue. Imperceptibly, the space around him was affected, as if it had turned into a taut giant ice cube. Suddenly, Xiao Chun moved and shouted, "Break!" As Xiao Chun held the 7 deadly sins, he gave off great Tao energy and executed the army-breaking saber technique. The army-breaking saber technique was most suitable to execute under such immense pressure. The greater the pressure, the more ferocious it would be. Xiao Chun raised the saber from the bottom to the top. He was like a lone warrior holding a spear, facing an army of thousands, piercing through the sky. Kazi! Kazi! The surrounding frozen space immediately shattered. The saber released a resplendent light as it clashed with the Holy Sun Mingxian's palm strike. The saber strike that Xiao Chun nurtured with his heart burst forth with absolute lethality in the face of adversity. The moment the saber light appeared, the incredibly sharp saber light pierced through the various Buddhist lights and Buddhist might, leaving thousands of holes in them. When the saber light clashed with the palm wind, Xiao Chun held the upper hand, knocking the Holy Sun Mingxian back in the air. The Holy Sun Mingxian frowned slightly in surprise. Unexpectedly, the half-step primal core Xiao Chun could erupt with such a strong saber strike. Then, Xiao Chun soared into the air. Now that he held the upper hand in his aura, he grasped the opportunity and smoothly followed up with army-breaking saber technique. The dark clouds in the sky cleared, and starlight fell. As the saber light swept out, it seemed like it would destroy the stars. When the Holy Sun Mingxian landed, he did not fluster in the face of danger. As he held the Buddhist prayer beads in his hand, he quickly formed hand seals. A black lotus bloomed under his feet. When the star-breaking saber technique landed, the Holy Sun Mingxian's body suddenly gave off a bright black Buddhist light. Then he formed hand seals with his right hand and blocked that unparalleled saber light. Scriptures echoed in the surroundings. The Holy Sun Mingxian gently raised his right hand, and scriptures gathered. The space around him continuously rose in level, looking like it was turning into the legendary Buddhist spiritual mountain. Change. Xiao Chun felt heavy resistance as he descended. He raised his saber and changed his move in one breath, executing the flawless saber technique's heartbreaking stance. Xiao Chun's heart shattered, and he felt intense pain. All the potential in his body was forcefully squeezed out amid the intense pain, turning into an unparalleled bright saber light that charged forward. The Holy Sun Mingxian's heart ached, and he revealed a pained expression. The dermic seal immediately broke. Xiao Chun did not pause at all. The saber light circled around, and the star-breaking saber technique, which he had just collected, was executed berserkly at lightning speed. Oh no! The Holy Sun Mingxian thought to himself as he pressed his palms together and retreated. Boom! The instant the Holy Sun Mingxian pressed his palms together, a similarly ferocious Buddhist might burst out of his body and clashed with the star-breaking saber technique. In the clash, loud sounds rang out in the surroundings. Xiao Chun's aura held the upper hand. The Holy Sun Mingxian's Buddhist might that he hastily unleashed could not neutralize the star-breaking saber technique. After being knocked back, Xiao Chun broke through the layers of Buddhist might and roared ferociously as he executed breaking the world. The berserk saber light immediately went out of control. The boundless saber might was like tens of thousands of wild horses breaking free from their reins, roaring ferociously and wanting to destroy the world. In this short exchange, Xiaochen perfectly brought out his exquisite saber techniques and cultivation, catching his opponent off guard. The Holy Sun Mingxian finally found this excellent opportunity. The moment he executed breaking the world, Xiaochen knew that the Holy Sun Mingxian could not escape. The Holy Sun Mingxian had nowhere to retreat to. Breaking the world swept away all of the Holy Sun Mingxian's Buddhist might and defensive martial techniques formed by various hand seals. Then he chopped down on the Holy Sun Mingxian's shoulder. Dang! A loud sound rang out, and Xiaochen revealed an expression of shock in his eyes. After the saber cut in by 1 centimeter, it could not go any deeper. Instead, it got stuck in the other party's shoulder bone. What kind of physical body is this? Ehe. You've played enough, right? The Holy Sun Mingxian did not care about the wound on his shoulder. He just smiled casually at Xiaochen. Xiaochen thought to himself, oh no. Then he let go of the saber with his right hand and tried to retreat. The Holy Sun Mingxian smiled faintly and did not panic. He held the index and middle fingers of his right hand together, and a string of Buddhist prayer beads dangled from them. After brewing for a while, he ferociously pushed forward. Bang! After retreating several meters, a shockingly strong force knocked Xiaochen into the air. His internal organs ruptured, and when he landed, he vomited a mouthful of blood. Xiaochen's entire body hurt. Aside from his damaged internal organs, cracks of various sizes appeared all over his body. Some of his outer bones even shattered completely. What hand seal is that? When Xiaochen saw the Holy Sun Mingxian's hand seal, he revealed a horrified expression. In that earlier moment, the force that the other party sent out was already infinitely close to the casual strike of an ordinary star venerate, feigning weakness before severely injuring the other party with a lightning-fast strike. When Xiaochen thought about his earlier exchange with the Holy Sun Mingxian, he could not help smiling bitterly. Originally, this was the method he used to defeat the little thunder saber. However, someone used it on him. This was karma. This was truly retribution. To think that you still have the strength to fight. Your physical body is extraordinary. The Holy Sun Mingxian casually tossed aside the 7 deadly sins on his shoulder and revealed a shocked expression. He discovered that Xiaochen had actually fainted from his injuries, yet he still had a strong life force. The Holy Sun Mingxian could not help feeling surprised. This physique was startlingly strong. While the Holy Sun Mingxian was shocked, Xiaochen was even more shocked. The Holy Sun Mingxian's full power attack, breaking the world, only left an unremarkable wound on the other party's shoulder. Compared to your fleshly body, my fleshly body is nothing. Xiaochen did not care. He stood up with much difficulty, not choosing to give up. The Holy Sun Mingxian said indifferently, "You are not qualified to compete with my physical body. If not for you comprehended great Tao energy, it would be impossible for you to injure me." What bold words! However, Xiaochen did not say much. He had not been able to improve his Blue Dragon War body further. He had only forcefully relied on the life juice source to improve his physique. In terms of physical body, he really could not compare to the other party. Do you still want to continue fighting? Just obediently give up, and I can let you suffer less pain. The sect venerate never said that he wanted your life, so you can rest assured. The Holy Sun Mingxian said softly, sensing that Xiaochen still had some trump cards and did not want to push him too hard. When Xiaochen heard this, he could not help raging in his heart. He laughed maniacally and said, "Don't worry. Even if he does not kill me, I will definitely kill him. Sooner or later, I will personally charge into the Black Lotus Church and take the head of that sect venerate." The Kunlun realm's demonic calamity and the deaths of countless brothers could not be in vain. He would charge into the Black Lotus Church not for himself, but for the fellow Taoists of the Kunlun realm who sacrificed themselves in the demonic calamity. Chu Yang, Yin Shi-san, Fu Hongyao. Too many. Ignorant. The Holy Sun Mingxian snorted coldly, revealing some disdain. He stopped speaking nonsense and prepared to end the battle quickly, breaking the mundane. The moment the Holy Sun Mingxian moved, Xiaochen immediately seized the opportunity to suck the 7 deadly sins into his hand. Xiaochen executed the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique, breaking the mundane smoothly. The surging mundane world and all sorts of scenes unfolded together with Xiaochen's saber light. The holy son Mingxian's footsteps slowed as a warm scene appeared before his eyes. That was the scene of him living with his parents and brothers before he became a monk. These were the most beautiful memories in his heart. No matter what he became under the Black Lotus Church's sect venerates instructions, he would never be able to forget these mundane events, a worry that he could never sever. Break! Xiaochen shouted coldly, and a golden swastika shot out from his forehead. A golden Buddhist swastika appeared behind him. A 3-kilometer-long saber light shot out from the holy son Mingxian's hand, and merged with the weapon in Xiaochen's hand. Then the saber light pierced towards the holy son Mingxian. Whoosh! The holy son Mingxian suddenly opened his eyes and woke up. However, it was already too late. The 3-kilometer-long saber light in the Buddha's hand bore the brunt of the attack, and pierced through his chest. Xiaochen bathed in a Buddhist light. The Buddhist monk's saber followed closely behind, piercing through the holy son Mingxian's chest. Pussy eye! The holy son Mingxian roared in pain. In the time it took for a spark to fly, he threw a palm strike at Xiaochen's shoulder. Bang! The two got knocked back at the same time. Xiaochen's injuries worsened. After he fell to the ground, he found it hard to stand up. The holy son Mingxian wobbled but did not fall over in the end. However, the might of breaking the mundane also entered the holy son Mingxian's body, causing his complexion to pale, and black light to appear. On the ground, Xiaochen sighed helplessly. He had already done his best. If the other party insisted on fighting, then he could only take the risk of activating his great desolate Ian bloodline in his current state. However, it was hard to guarantee that the other party might not have a great desolate Ian bloodline. Whoosh! Just at this moment something strange happened. The 30-kilometer-long Buddha image in the deep chasm suddenly shattered into countless specks of dust, scattering in all directions. Chapter 1694. In the boundless deep abyss, the towering Buddha image turned to dust, and a beam of light soared up from below. This was Yang Qing, who had absorbed the Buddha Mother's incense. Before she landed, she threw a palm strike at the holy son Mingxian. The palm wind contained a cold intent. Everywhere it passed, it arrived before the holy son Mingxian in the blink of an eye. The holy son Mingxian did not have time to think. He simply threw a palm strike. Boom! The two palms clashed. Yang Qing knocked back the holy son Mingxian with one palm strike, not moving at all. After absorbing the Buddha Mother's incense, her strength soared rapidly. What a strong palm strike! The holy son Mingxian took a few steps back, before he barely stabilized himself. Shock appeared on his face. After being struck by Xiaochen's breaking the mundane, Mingxian was clearly injured. He could not circulate much veritable essence energy to clash with Yang Qing. Instead of retreating, Yang Qing advanced. She burst forth with a terrifying Buddhist might. The Buddha Mother's 30-kilometer-tall figure appeared behind her, exuding might without anger. A terrifying might spread out, making the injured Mingxian feel unbearable. It had been many years since Mingxian had such a feeling when facing someone of the same generation. This was truly surprising. What exactly happened for this girl, who was not worth mentioning earlier, to grow so much stronger? She actually vaguely showed the might of a star venerate, catching everyone off guard. Mingxian's expression immediately turned grave. The Buddhist prayer beads in his hand released a resplendent black light. A black lotus bloomed under his feet, and a gigantic black Buddha image appeared behind him. Bang! Another palm strike clashed. The two were evenly matched. The Buddha images behind them had a stern expression and a ferocious expression. They fought intensely as well. However, the holy son Mingxian was injured. This intense clash instantly deepened the injury on his chest. The saber intent contained in the 7 deadly sins still stabbed into his chest lingered for a long time, continuously invading his meridians and internal organs. What was more serious was that the true meaning of breaking the mundane had severed the most beautiful memories in his heart. His heart was supreme, but it hurt his soul. A strange sense of loss and grief lingered for a long time. The mundane world was hard to break, and obsession was hard to dispel. No matter how strong one's physical body was, the human heart was made of flesh. Yang Qing drifted back with a grave expression. Unexpectedly, the holy son Mingxian could still clash head-on with her despite his severe injuries. If Zhang Xian hadn't been injured, he would have had to put in a lot of effort to defeat him. With no time to think, Yang Qing shouted coldly and charged over once more. After forcefully clashing for another 3 moves, the holy son Mingxian finally could no longer endure. Blood continuously oozed out of the 7 deadly sin on his chest. Drip, drip, drip. It landed on the ground. Xiao Chun, who was on the ground, stood up with much difficulty. He revealed an expression of luck. Fortunately, Yang Qing appeared at this crucial moment. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although he still had some trump cards up his sleeve, his injuries were too severe, and he couldn't use them at all. If he forcefully used it, the consequences would be extremely severe. Even without the other party doing anything, he would still die. The holy son Mingxian was unexpectedly strong. This was especially so for his strange physical body. Xiao Chen wondered how he cultivated it. Let's go. Yang Qing knew when to stop. After forcing back the holy son Mingxian, she no longer pushed back. Then her figure flashed back and quickly left with Xiao Chun. Damn it! Rage burned in the holy son Mingxian's eyes. For the first time, anxiety appeared on his face. He had not expected such a result at all. Something that should have been in the bag turned out to be an accident. The holy son Mingxian had always taken everything into account. Even when facing a star venerate, he could retreat calmly without losing his elegance. However, today an insignificant Xiao Chen actually managed to injure him. Furthermore, he was significantly injured. That unremarkable woman had inexplicably become stronger all of a sudden. It was also inexplicable. Kasie. The holy son Mingxian pulled out the 7 deadly sin from his chest. Then, like he was venting his hatred, he used all his strength to break the saber in half and tossed it to the ground. However, this 7 deadly sin had been specially refined and was no ordinary weapon. After it broke, it immediately scattered. It turned into 7 beams of light of different colors and flew towards Xiao Chun, not doing much harm. Damn it! The holy son Mingxian roared furiously, venting all his frustration and dissatisfaction on his feet. Then he stomped on the ground. A crack appeared on the cliff, trembling endlessly. The crack extended downwards, looking like it would shatter at any moment. The holy son Mingxian looked around and saw the unconscious white cat. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and his expression instantly turned cold. Who knew? This white cat felt his gaze and quickly got up. Then, it nimbly chased after Xiao Chun and Yang Qing. It turned out that the white cat had woken up long ago, and had been pretending to be asleep. Interesting. After venting the rage in his heart, the holy son Mingxian completely calmed down. His expression recovered its gentle expression as he closed his eyes and started treating his injuries. Clearly, the urgent matter now was not to show off his bravery, but to quickly return to his peak. He had to re-evaluate Xiao Chen's strength. Then he would find the other party and take him down at lightning speed. The demonic bone Saraira. The mission that his master gave him had to be completed. This concerned the great cause of the Black Lotus Church. Something that could change the entire Buddhist sect in the Great Thousand Realms. Yang Qing quickly led Xiao Chen down the mountain. After walking for another 2 hours, she did not see the holy son Mingxian chasing after her. Only then did she relax. There was no need to be polite between the two. Xiao Chen did not thank her. He asked, "You did not finish absorbing the power of the Joss flames, right?" It felt too fast. It would be very difficult to absorb all the power of the Joss flames in such a short time. Yang Qing nodded and smiled softly. "I can't do anything about it. That holy sun Mingxian is too strong. If I had continued to absorb it unhurriedly, young Master Xiao, you would have died." Xiao Chen felt ashamed in his heart. In his life, he had rarely been saved by a woman. He asked, "Where are you going next?" Reluctance flashed in Yang Qing's eyes. Her expression turned somewhat complicated. I forcefully absorbed the power of the Joss flames into my body. After a while, my body will explode and I will die. Ah. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly as he looked at the other party incredulously. He could not accept this. Yang Qing smiled and said, "Don't be shocked. Even if I did not forcefully absorb it into my body, I would have chosen to sacrifice myself after absorbing the power of the Joss flames. It is just a matter of time. Unfortunately, I originally wanted to stay a little longer. Now I have no choice." Bang. As soon as she finished speaking, Yang Qing's entire body exploded. However, there was no blood or bones. Instead, it turned into a 9-colored spiritual aura that contained a dense Buddhist light. It flew into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. This caught Xiao Chen off guard. He was stunned for a long time before recovering his wits. As they chatted, Yang Qing's body exploded. It was really hard to accept. Xiao Chen looked up at the sky and entered deep thought. He did not know if he would get a chance to see Yang Qing's true body again. However, there was a great difference between an emanation body and a true body. Their personalities were very different. Xiao Chen thought for a while, and concluded that it was best not to interact with a woman who dared to cultivate an emanation body. She would definitely be someone who was both righteous and evil. Or perhaps, she was an evil cultivator. At the back of the temple on the Buddha-seeking platform, the Holy Sun Mingxian opened his eyes and saw the 9-colored spiritual energy flying into the sky. After his shock, he revealed an expression of understanding. It turned out to be the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter's emanation body. No wonder. No wonder. That is already a famous expert of the Great Thousand Realms. Exceptionally difficult to deal with, however. Since you spoiled my plans, I will repay this debt sooner or later, even if you are the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter. On the other side, Xiao Chen still did not feel very safe. He traveled alone and found a quiet place. After leaving behind a simple formation, he calmed down slightly. Right now there was only one thing to do. Break through quietly. In the earlier battle, Xiao Chen had already broken through his bottleneck. If he were too severely injured, he could break through the limits of the veritable personage realm on the spot. Closing his eyes, Xiao Chen swallowed a medicinal pill for treating injuries that Yi Zifeng had given him. The medicinal pill melted the moment it entered his mouth, and a cooling sensation spread throughout his body. The pain in his body immediately eased significantly. Naturally, the medicinal pill that Yi Zifeng had given him was not inferior. Soon, Xiao Chen's strong physical body allowed him to recover from most of his injuries. It is time to break through. Xiao Chen opened his eyes. He had been waiting for this day for a long time already. However, when it truly arrived, his heart was calm. Chapter 1695. Advancing from the veritable personage realm to the primal core realm was to merge the 3 essence energies into one and form a core. Xiao Chen's Yin essence energy came from the 10,000-year-old baleful Yin energy he absorbed and refined. Xiao Chen's Yang essence energy came from the heavenly Yang pill, which was comparable to the 10,000-year-old baleful Yang energy. As for veritable essence energy, it was like a mediator between the two. However, it was different. Be it Yin essence energy or Yang essence energy, their ultimate goal was to temper veritable essence energy, to continuously perfect it. In the end, a cultivator's cultivation was based on veritable essence energy. When merging the 3 essence energies into one, the most important thing was balance, the conservation of Yin and Yang. Only then could one form a primal core. Xiao Chen had reached this point long ago. The Taiji diagram in his Dantian slowly formed its second cycle allowed him to not have to spend any effort on balancing it. This was already the most perfect Tao of balance in the current world. It originated from the immortal epics Taoist sections. Now it belonged to Xiao Chen alone, something he could use. In the Great Thousand Realms there was a saying, "First become human, then become a deity." After transcending mortality and becoming a veritable personage, one would take a brand new step on the long martial Tao. The veritable personage realm was the foundation. It determined how far one could go in the future, and how much potential one could bring out. Many people understood this point. However, not many people could do it. Not everyone's physical body could endure the 10,000-year-old baleful yin energy and 10,000-year-old baleful yang energy. Those who could endure the 10,000-year-old baleful yin energy and 10,000-year-old baleful yang energy might not have the opportunity to subdue them. Furthermore, not everyone could be like Xiao Qun, enduring silently and maintaining a calm and peaceful state of mind. Even when facing many dangers, the pursuit of the Black Lotus Church, the provocation of the Divine Firmament sect, and the encirclement of the Divine Shield Army, he did not force a breakthrough. Furthermore, he did not rush to make a breakthrough because he wanted to make a name for himself. Xiao Qun let nature take its course, succeeding when the conditions were right. After continuous tempering and adjustment, he finally reached where he was today, step by step. This was because from the start to the end, Xiao Qun had not forgotten his original intention. To search for the moon, to find Lu Ruyue, to find the person he loved the most, to obtain the Dragon Emperor position, and to complete the revival of the Blue Dragon bloodline. Everything that Xiao Qun experienced in the Great Thousand Realms was just fleeting. His final battlefield would definitely be the Central Great Realm, where geniuses gathered and the outstanding talents of the Great Desolate Hundred Races. The heavens would not disappoint those who set their minds to it. Xiao Qun took a deep breath. With a thought, the black and white Taiji diagram formed by Yang Essence Energy and Yin Essence Energy in his dantian slowly merged and shrank. After being cleansed by hundreds of jasmine flowers, his Yin and Yang essence had become extremely pure, sparkling and translucent, emitting a silk-like luster. This was especially true for the Yang essence refined from the Sky Yang pill. It was originally contaminated with the residue of the pill, so the problem could be big or small. After this round of cleansing, the dregs of the pill were completely expelled from the body. There was no longer any hidden danger. Since the Yang Yuan and Yin Yuan energies were too vast and pure, the process of merging Xiao Qun's 3 Yuan energies into one was rather slow. Hua around him, an even vaster black and white Tai Chi diagram appeared, dancing light and shadow, flickering and disappearing. Amidst the light and shadow, the entire world alternated between black and white, and a unique Tao rhythm circulated. A Taoist rhyme that was different from the Buddhist might was exceptionally mysterious, causing one's imagination to run wild. Time passed by the minute and second. Although Xiao Qun's progress was slow, it went smoothly without any obstructions at all. This was how a breakthrough came naturally. When the bottleneck was no longer there, one just had to let nature take its course. 4 hours later, the Yin Essence Energy, Yang Essence Energy, and Veritable Essence Energy in Xiao Qun's dantian had already shrunk to the size of a palm. The light they gave off was boundlessly resplendent. The light shone through Xiao Qun's body. His bones, flesh, skin, and even his soul all received great benefits in the process of merging the 3 Yuan energies into one. The flickering light on the surface of Xiao Qun's body intertwined with the surrounding Taiji diagram, vaguely connecting with the entire world. This was the fiendish demon battlefield. Not only was the space here of a higher level, but the spiritual energy here was also several times that of the outside world. Breaking through here was much better than breaking through in a blessed land. This was something that Xiao Qun had not expected. After another 7 minutes, the extremely condensed Yang Essence Energy and Yin Essence Energy finally merged into his veritable Essence Energy. Whoosh! The Taiji diagram, which originally circulated extremely slowly, spun violently at 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times faster than before. Thousands of beams of golden light shot out from Xiao Qun's body, illuminating the surrounding 50 kilometers like it was daytime. Xiao Qun could clearly see every blade of grass and tree in the surroundings. Fortunately, Xiao Qun had chosen a desolate place in the fiendish demon battlefield, where the situation was constantly changing. Such a large commotion did not attract the attention of others. As that light spun, Xiao Qun felt a brand new veritable essence energy flow continuously in his meridians. Strong energy filled his entire body, making Xiao Qun feel his strength erupting rapidly. This continued for an entire hour before the feeling of his strength increasing abruptly came to a stop. The boundless light in the surroundings suddenly withdrew, returning to his body as if nothing had happened. When the light vanished, Xiaochen looked within himself and discovered a fingernail-sized crystal primal core in his dantian. The primal core had 9 golden stars carved on its surface. Each golden star flickered with light. Upon closer inspection, it was piercing and bright. One could not look directly at it. A 9-star primal core. This was the most perfect advancement. Even in the Great Thousand Realms, it would allow one to look down on the many outstanding talents. Xiaochen could not help revealing joy in his heart. After leaving the Kunlun realm and experiencing all sorts of things, he finally managed to condense this primal core. Looking at that completely solidified crystal, Xiaochen rejoiced. His cultivation directly soared to peak minor primal core realm. When one first entered the primal core realm, the primal core realm was mostly soft. There would even be some viscous veritable essence energy inside. A completely solidified crystal was the mark of peak minor primal core realm. One more step, and one would reach the major primal core realm. Only by successfully breaking through could one increase the capacity of the primal core realm. That required continuous tempering, merging the primal core with the power of the world. This was an extremely important step. Many people would never be able to cross this hurdle in their entire lives. However, Xiaochen felt that his 9-star primal core could contain much more veritable essence energy than that of a regular major primal core expert. Every shining golden star was condensed with incomparably pure quintessential essence. Most regular primal core cultivators had only 2 or 3 golden stars. Even in the Blessed Lands, those with more than 5 golden stars were extremely rare. Rumor had it that Shangguan Lei had only condensed 6 golden stars, and he already stood at the top of his generation in the Black Cave Mountain. Xiaochen suddenly opened his eyes, and an irrepressible tyranny burst out from them. His aura felt like he had been reborn. This was not something that Xiaochen liked. However, he had just advanced to the primal core realm, and could not control it as he pleased. The tyranny and strength of a 9-star primal core could not be easily hidden. Shangguan Lei was incredibly tyrannical, making many people not dare to meet his gaze, aside from his thunder Dao and his irascible character. A large part of the reason was his 6-star primal core, which formlessly suppressed others. When I run into that holy Sun Ming Xian again, I can give him a huge surprise. Xiaochen was a proud person. Although he was not willing to show it to others, he could not help but feel dissatisfied after being suppressed so miserably by someone of the same generation. Xiaochen indeed had the capital to feel dissatisfied. A half-step primal core cultivator was already at a huge disadvantage against an early-stage major primal core cultivator, like the holy Sun Ming Xian. Now that Xiaochen had broken through, it could barely be considered a fair fight. Xiaochen shifted his gaze and looked in the direction of the 10,000 weapon pavilion. He muttered to himself, "I have to go and find a good saber that suits me." If Xiaochen had a Dao tool earlier, he would not have ended up in such an awkward situation where he could not injure the holy Sun Ming Xian even after he struck him. Who is it? Suddenly, Xiaochen's expression changed slightly. After advancing to the primal core realm, his senses were extremely sharp. Even the tiniest changes within 50 kilometers could not escape his notice. Xiaochen gently pushed off the ground and leaped several kilometers, landing at the place where the sound came from. He saw a white cat filled with wildness stepping on the ground. It did not make any sound as it leaped around extremely quickly. Xiaochen recognized this white cat. It was that young cat-eared girl. When her fiendish chi erupted, she had drawn a strange mark on his forehead before vanishing. Xiaochen had nearly forgotten about this matter. She came at the right time. The young cat-eared girl's intelligent, black gem-like eyes revealed a surprised expression when she saw Xiaochen. She was surprised that Xiaochen had discovered her in advance. What was more, she was surprised that Xiaochen's strength had changed so much in just half a day. Chapter 1696. As his aura locked onto the white cat, Xiaochen showed a cautious expression. The scene of the other party killing Zhen Xian with one claw was still fresh in his mind. The feeling that the transformed white cat gave Xiaochen was even more horrifying than that of the holy Sun Ming Xian. "Why are you so cautious? The fiend blood in my body has already entered your body." The cat-eared girl's body swayed as she turned back into a pretty young girl. Then she looked at Xiao Chun with a displeased expression. What? This startled Xiao Chun. These words were truly unexpected, somewhat hard to accept. When Xiao Chun thought of the other party's appearance after transforming, his heart could not help but tremble. He did not want to end up like that. The young cat-eared girl rolled her eyes at Xiao Chun and said, "You gained something, yet you still want to act innocent. You sect disciples are all like that." When Xiao Chun heard this, he felt somewhat speechless. He ignored the other party and closed his eyes, using his spiritual sense to check for the power of his bloodline. Aside from the familiar blue dragon bloodline, there was only ordinary human bloodline. There was no other strange bloodline. Is she lying? Xiao Chun's expression changed slightly and he opened his eyes. He discovered that the other party did not show any intention of attacking him when he closed his eyes. Her expression did not change either. Xiao Chun asked indifferently, "You came to me just to talk about this? I did not sense any fiendish demon bloodline. You can go now." The young cat-eared girl was not surprised. She looked at Xiao Chun and said, "Naturally, the current you cannot sense that noble fiendish demon bloodline. It will slowly appear as you grow stronger. Fiendish demons are born in response to calamities. They are naturally impure. You are already an impure person. In the future, you have to be wary of others drawing out the fiendish demon bloodline in your body. However, you have a heart of innocence that has been tempered 1,000 times. Even if it is drawn out, you will not end up in a sorry state like I did." Seeing the other party speak so seriously, Xiao Chun's expression slowly turned grave. He checked again but still did not find anything strange. "There's no need to worry too much. To you, this noble fiendish demon bloodline is definitely more beneficial than harmful." Xiao Chun slapped his forehead and said, "All right, I'll believe you for now. Can you tell me where you came from?" The cat-eared girl calmly said, "I never lie. You should have believed me. I am a stray cat that the old abbot of the ancient Cloud Temple took in. After the ancient Cloud Temple declined, the Seven Aperture Sovereign Emperor brought me into the fiendish demon battlefield." Xiao Chun was startled. The old abbot of ancient Cloud Temple was that nameless ancient temple? As for sovereign emperors, Xiao Chun had heard of them. After entering the divine vein realm, they would be addressed as sovereign emperors. They were between sovereign personages and martial gods, so they were qualified to be addressed as sovereign emperors. I'm the only fiendish demon in the great thousand worlds with the original fiendish demon blood flowing in my veins. Of course, I'm no longer one. I had no intention of transferring my bloodline to you. But you ruined my plans time and time again, so I had no choice but to forcefully transfer it to you. It's actually better to leave it for the owner of that Nirmanakia. I can feel that her real body is also full of desire for the demon blood." Xiao Chun came to a sudden realization. So when he attacked Yang Qing back then, he wanted to transfer the demon blood to her. If he hadn't saved her, he wouldn't have gotten involved in this matter. However, the old abbot said that everything has a cause and effect. You definitely have a fate with Buddha. Back then, when he transferred this demon blood to me, he said that the next owner of the demon blood would definitely be someone with a fate with Buddha. The little cat blinked as it looked at Xiao Chun. However, it could not see how he had a fate with Buddha. "I've already said what I needed to say. Goodbye." After saying what needed to be said, the young cat-eared girl turned back into a white cat and quickly left Xiao Chun's sight. A fate with Buddha. It seemed like the lingering soul of the Mahasvara Buddha that Xiao Chun met in the Sky Dome Immortal Realm had said something similar. Furthermore, Xiao Chun had coincidentally obtained the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. It seemed like he really had a fate with Buddha. It was impossible for him to have a fate with Buddha for no reason. Never mind. I'll worry about this in the future. Right now, the most important thing is to go to the 10,000 weapon pavilion. I still don't know if the demon blood is real or fake. Xiao Chun had always been decisive when doing things. He knew what was important and what was not. He would not be indecisive. After checking his bloodline again, Xiao Chun set his mind on his way to the 10,000 weapon pavilion. Now that Xiao Chun's strength had increased significantly, he discovered that he could travel very fast. He could leap high in this fiendish demon battlefield without any obstructions. Xiao Chen pushed off with his feet. Without needing to gather veritable essence energy, he easily traversed 1 kilometer. After a while, the towering 10,000 weapon pavilion appeared in Xiao Chen's vision. Thousands of strands of complete Great Tao energy descended from the top of the pavilion, forming a 7-colored light that competed with each other. When Xiao Chen arrived at the entrance, he felt heavy pressure and found it difficult to move. He had to circulate his veritable essence energy before he could adapt. The vast Tao might extinguish the complacency in Xiao Chen's heart after he advanced. Before the Great Tao, he was still far from it. Xiao Chen calmly entered the first floor of the 10,000 weapon pavilion. Naturally, there were no good weapons on the first floor, only some superior grade profound weapons. However, those that could catch the attention of a divine vein powerhouse were naturally peak quality superior grade profound weapons. Aside from these, there were some special superior grade profound weapons that would attract the attention of the cultivators here. Those were the profound weapons that some sovereign personages or sovereign emperors once used. As far as Xiao Chen knew, there were 3 grades of weapons: profound weapons, treasure weapons, and Tao weapons. For now, Xiao Chen did not know what weapons were stronger than Tao weapons. Profound weapons were the weakest. However, they were weapons that ordinary veritable personages and primal core venerates used. Those sovereign personages and sovereign emperors must have used profound weapons when they were young. If one could obtain a profound weapon that they used, there would definitely be some Tao left behind. After comprehending it, one would gain many benefits. Hence, although the hall on the first floor was filled with profound weapons, there were many sect disciples who seriously chose and broke the restrictions. There was no competition here. If one was lucky and obtained a superior grade profound weapon that a sovereign personage used, it would be a great gain. It would not be inferior to a treasure weapon. Every weapon floating in the air looked like it was hovering. However, restrictions surrounded it. One could only draw the weapon after breaking the restrictions. However, the restrictions on the first floor were rather simple. They were not difficult for the cultivators who came here. Xiao Chen raised his foot. The moment he stepped into the hall, the various sect disciples who were choosing weapons felt an instinctive threat. Their bodies instinctively felt threatened, and they either turned their heads or turned around to look at the entrance. Who is this person? He is just a minor primal core venerate. Why does he give off such great pressure? Clang. Just as many people felt confused, 10 sabers of the thousands of weapons floating in the air in the hall unsheathed themselves and stabbed into the ground around Xiao Chen. The sabers trembled and buzzed endlessly. A strange saber intent spread out uncontrollably. It is the Tao left behind by a sovereign personage. These are all profound weapons that a sovereign personage once used. Damn. Where did this white-clad person come from? We worked so hard but could not find a profound weapon that a sovereign personage used. The moment he arrived, he delivered it to us. The 100-odd disciples in the hall all showed shocked expressions as they looked at Xiao Chen incredulously. Some of them revealed greed in their eyes. However, when they thought of the instinctive fear they felt when Xiao Chen first entered, they all dispelled this greed. Xiao Chen shook his head and casually waved his hand. He absorbed all the Tao contained in the 10 sabers. The heroic appearances of many sovereign personages when they were young immediately appeared in his mind. After a while, Xiao Chen opened his eyes, and a sharp light appeared in them. He thought to himself, these are truly weapons that a sovereign personage once used. Even though their cultivations were not high at that time, they still benefited a lot. After the Tao was absorbed, the 10 sabers immediately turned ordinary. The spiritual energy in them dimmed significantly, returning to their ordinary state. Xiao Chen waved his hand, and the 10 sabers returned to their scabbards. Clang! Clang! Just at this moment, a familiar figure fell down the stairs of the second floor in a sorry state, grunting in pain. After that figure stood up, he quickly headed for the doors. This was where Xiao Chen was. This person showed a flustered expression. He did not look where he was going at all, nearly crashing into the doors. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and gently placed it on that person's shoulder, firmly pinning him to the ground. That person looked up in shock. When he saw that it was Xiao Chen, his face lit up in joy. Martial uncle. This was the purple flame sex Ling Yu, who had entered the fiendish demon battlefield with Xiao Chun. Ling Yu, quickly hand over the treasure weapon in your hand. Before Xiao Chun could exchange pleasantries, the disciples who injured Ling Yu rushed over. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.